Welcome to the g52 podcast, your Horus Heresy safe space, a place for bullshit and bad hobby advice. So if you want to join in, like our Facebook page, Geno52 Podcast, join our Facebook group, Geno52 Podcast, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Geno52 Podcast, or drop us an email, Geno52podcast@gmail.com. Always remember, the Geno52 Podcast does contain adult humour. Hi guys, welcome back for episode 6 of the Geno52 podcast. We're back again to talk some bullshit and talk about some hobby stuff. As always, I'm joined by Stu.
Hello.
And I'm joined by Nick.
Hello.
Yeah, and also, actually, because I'm well with it tonight, we're actually joined by a special guest. Someone you've heard before, Sam Perkins has come back to spend the evening with us this time.
Hello.
Yeah, so we got Sam with us.
Drinking buddy, yeah.
More boozing buddy. So yeah, we're going to record quite a cool episode tonight. We got some stuff coming up. We're going to have our usual preamble into what's been going on in the hobby and stuff, and we've actually got 2 event reports to go through today. So one of the reasons Sam's come to join us, he didn't just enjoy our company so much, we actually had to bribe him to come back on. He's going to come and talk Shadow Wars with us. He's also going to talk 40k Open Day, because Sam was lucky enough to attend the best heresy event of the year, which was the 40k Open Day, and Shadow Wars. Got that. We got a little bit on our event that we ran, the Tarsis 4 event. So we've got a bit of that's actually going to be mainly recorded stuff on the day. So I haven't listened back to what we record. I know I was quite drunk by the end of it. I'm hoping Stu has edited it for content, but so hopefully you'll get some field reports from Tarsis 4, and then we're going to close out, and we've got some other bits, maybe throw another section in depending on how drunk and tired we are by the end of it. But yeah, so as you know, the 30k community is a pretty awesome community, and we gathered together a couple of times to do some pretty important stuff. I mean, we've done Freddy's Warlord raffle, there was the MKA charity raffle in Australia, but a new cause has come up over the last few days, and it's something I think we all need to get behind and passionate. And as you're probably all aware, Tim from the Eye of Horus doesn't read Black Library books. JP from the Age of Darkness and Mark have just done an amazing Betrayer segment, and something very important came up the other day in our Global Heresy chat, that Tim hasn't read Betrayer. So we're starting a campaign along with JP and a few others to keep shouting at him until Tim read Betrayer. So we're going to get the hashtag trending. I think we're going to set up a charity. I think there's going to be GoFundMe pages. I think there's going to be some marathons run in order to it. So what we really want is from everybody in the hobby, just keep shouting at Tim until he reads Betrayer. So yeah, thank you for my for bearing with me while I got on that soapbox, but I think that's the next big issue in the heresy, isn't it? Let's get Tim to read Betrayer. I've even promised him, if he's really that bad, I will read it to him over Skype.
Well, that's gonna make him go out and buy the audiobook, isn't it? To be fair.
Oh yeah, Tim, if you don't read it and they'll listen to it in the next month, I'm gonna read it to you, and I can't even read my own show notes. So anyway, rant over then, guys. Let's get on to the main show then. So Stu, what have you been up to lately?
What have I been up to? I've started work on the Solar Ox rather than just talking about it. I built a LAS section. That's pretty much all. They took a bit of. They weren't hard to build, but I wanted to leave all of the guns off so they're easy to paint and sub-assembly. But that each gun has got its own number tab, and each model has its own number tab. And by the time I clean them all up, and you need to do a bit of green stuff on the connections between the arm when they fit on, it would have been such a ball ache to actually label them all up individually on corks, then paint them nicely, and then find you still got more green stuff to do. So I did what I don't do very often, and actually glued them all together. So it's going to be a little bit harder to paint, but I think the time I saved on pissing around with labelling everything up will be made up in the painting anyway. But they're done. They're on, corks ready to go. So next time I get the primer out, I will give them a prime and maybe start painting if I've got time in between client work. What else have I done? Oh, I built two Lehman Russ last night while watching the telly. Two plastic Lehman Russ vanquishers, but I've trying to make them look a little bit different. So I used I started off with the Eradicator gun, and I fired off the end, and then put the Vanquisher cannon on the end of that, so it's a little bit longer. Right as we speak, I'm green stuffing, or I'm building some green stuff tubes from the wonderful green stuff tentacle roll maker that Nick recommended to me.
The most amazing tool ever.
It's
so much
awesome.
fun.
It's awesome. I wish I played around with it a little bit before I'm doing it now, because I'm probably not using it right. But the idea is to put some cables running from the. If you know what the Vanquisher gun looks like, it's got sort of drilled holes in it on the front of the barrel, which is right now in the base of the Vanquisher. This is going to sound terrible. I'll put some pictures up online, but I'm going to run cables out of those holes anyway and into the main turret of the tank. It'll just give it a slightly different look, while still looking like a Vanquisher. But other than that, heresy related, not a lot. Apart from our event, of course, but that'll all be covered in the later section.
Yeah, we'll cover that. So, Sam, do you want to tell us what you've been up to? I mean, obviously, we're going to talk 40k Open Day and Shadow Wars. What have you been up to outside of that?
Yeah, well, I've decided to bat for the other team and move over to the Loyalist side. I was quite impressed by Battle for Calth. So I've decided to do an Imperial Fist Force for doubles in the next One World January event. So yeah, I was really impressed by the quality of the plastic Mark IIIs, and I thought, well, it's been something I've been planning to do for months really. I've always said if they ever end up doing any sort of plastic Mark IIIs, I will end up creating an Imperial Fist Force.
They're a real step up from the Mark IVs, aren't they?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The legs
amazing.
are so much better. Just the quality overall, I think, is just great. That they're on par with the resin ones, I think, personally, and obviously they're a lot better. You don't have to clean them. The mold lines are pretty much non-existent.
In the right place when they are as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Well
they're not in really awkward places. So yeah, apart from that, really, I've got them mounted up on corks now at the moment as we speak. I'm sort of slowly going through some of the yellow line highlights, but a few commissions for a few clients. But apart from that, that seems to be my personal project at the moment.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I've just built 9 Mark III dudes out of my first 9 out of the Prospero box, and I really, when I started building the first 2, I was worried about how much sort of dynamism you can put into them, because the legs are quite fixed, but actually the 10 different pose, each 10 are different, slightly different pose, aren't they? And just by tweaking the body and changing up the arms that you put with them, the arm pair and the helmet, you can give them a really dynamic poses, are different across the squad as well.
Again, much more so than with the Mark IV.
Yeah,
they had a few variations, but it was very, very similar kind of static squat legged kind of poses.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is the Mark IIIs look so much beefier compared to... I've just built 4 Mark IV guys out of resin from the quad gun set, and they look so much skinnier compared to the Mark III dudes. The Mark III plastics look so much bigger and tougher than these Mark IV resin guys. They look like they've got such skinny legs compared.
Mine are probably going to sit on sprues till this time next year, I imagine, with all the Solar Rocks. It's going to take me a little while, so I really want to build them. And I like building plastic models, but I've got no use for them, and I don't want to build them and then just, like a year on, decide the project I want for them is going to be completely different. So, I'll build some custodes in a couple of weeks. I was going to do it early, but everybody and their dog has released and built custodes with pictures of them painted at the moment, so I don't think another set on the internet's really going to be that exciting for anyone to see. Not that I mind seeing people's pictures of them, but I think mine will stay on the sprue for a little bit longer. Maybe I'll build them over Christmas or something.
I mean, that last 10-man vet squad that I finished up last week, that was the last of my Calth Marines, and I pre-ordered Calth when it was released last year, so it's taken me 12 months to paint all 30 of them dudes. So I mean, I'm not looking. I've done the 9 guys I've done because I need them for January, but I don't know when I'll do the other 20. Well, the other 21 actually, and I'm waiting I'll wait till book 7 comes out before I start work on my custodes really, because I think I got enough to do up until then, and I think I'm planning on doing a militia army next. So they're in there. They're in there for having fun and doing something with when I've got time. So I'm not going to rush to finish my Prospero box.
Custodes feel like the Grey Knights of 30k at the moment. I mean, Grey Knights first came up for 40k. Yeah, as you said, everybody in their dog was building and playing them. So I think when the hype settles down, it'll be nice to see what sort of things people come up with.
Yeah, I think I built some because I was lucky enough to build the Incom Gaming's demo set. So they got set a week early so that when people came into pre-order they could see it. I built them up for Chip, and I built them quite quickly because I think I got them on the Wednesday and he wanted them for the Saturday, and I was out Friday, so I had to quite rush build him. And I built a mixed squad of swords and shields because we didn't know what the rules were at that time, so we just kind of threw them together. So I didn't have a lot of time to play with the models and see what I could do with them, and I think there's going to be there's some real opportunity for tweaking poses and maybe a bit of manipulation to make some really interesting models. I think they're the sort of models that I want to give some serious time to.
I don't see the hype going away anytime soon, Sam. It's just gonna grow to fever pitch. We've got the
I can wait.
hover tank. We've got the hover jet bike thing. We're gonna have flyers. We're gonna get the new rules and the new book. I think it's Custodes.
Yeah, it's not even started yet, really, has it?
No.
You wait though. Someone's going to build like 10 units of each, and then the book will come out, and they'll all be like 0 to 1 limits on units. And
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds cool, but I think we've discussed maybe that they probably should be an allied detachment only, because at the moment you can only take them as allies, can't you? And that might be a way of balancing it. But I think they said at the open day that it'll be a full army list. Talons of the Emperor will be a full army list. So I'm wondering if maybe it will be you can only take X amount of custodes in an army, and you'll have to make the rest of the army up with sisters or other things to build that in as well, because I know there were some scary stories about the guy who managed to run some custodes up at the Shadow Wars.
Yeah,
I heard tale of 8 red butchers bouncing off them. So
we seem to be the only podcast that was talking them up. I mean, okay, you guys would disagree with me on some aspects, but even a lot of the other chats and on the forums, nobody seemed that overwhelmed by them. But there's a few of us that were kind of saying like these are going to be really, really good, and the few real world examples that we've heard are starting to show that really they're going to be beasts. They're going to be absolute beasts.
Cool. So I think we're dangerously veering into stuff we want to do later. So I'm going to sort of steer the Good Ship podcast back to keep it going. So what have you been up to, Nick, then, since the last record?
How long ago did we last record?
Couple of weeks.
A couple of weeks, isn't it? So I put a few more hours into the. I think it is now officially the worst kit Forge World ever made. The Fire Raptor. Oh my god, it's just a never-ending mission to make it look nice. I put about 4 hours more green stuff in and sand in and using a Dremel, and I feel like I'm basically rebuilding the whole thing. Like I might as well have just got past the card and tried it myself. It actually does look like a flyer now, and I really like it a lot. I think I said last time in the last podcast, I love the ball turrets. They're really cool. It's got a very unique kind of feel compared to a lot of the other flyers. So I've done a lot more hours into that. I've also built 18 scimitar jet bikes and drilled the holes into the arses of 18 riders and put pins up the bum so that I can do a mass.
Not the jet bikes themselves.
What are the bombs? The jet bikes? No, well, the jet bikes, they've already got the nice hole on them for the stand.
Of course,
They're all just balanced. They're all like build them, keep the guy off. The poses are perfect, even with the White Scar add-ons. That like, I don't think unless you really tried, you could build them and they wouldn't fit. Like the arms just sit at the perfect height. They're even better than the GW bikes, like the Space Marine bikes. Like you'd have to really try to mess them up. So I built them all separately so I can spray all the bikes and then paint up the detail and then spray all the riders. And I actually feel like I'm getting through it now. Like the thought of building that many jet bikes, I've still got another like 12 to go. But the fact I've done 18 and I was looking at them, I was like, oh, this is awesome. It's starting to look like a big army of jet bikes finally.
They're not the worst kit though, are they? I bought
really
3. I
nice.
put them together. I sold them before I used them, but I thought they went together fairly easily. They weren't too.
Yeah, and they're
I
really
wouldn't want to
fun.
build 18
They're fun
though.
to build. Yeah, there's no fiddly bits and there's no misaligned bits. Like even if they were slightly miscast or whatever, they'd still kind of clonk together. Like you have a nice feel to it. Like you go and it's done. It's like, yeah, done. I built a model and it looks good. Done. Have to do a lot of them, but it's really, really fun kit. I built a couple of javelins as well. They're really, really nice kit. I love the javelins. Also, I've been given the order that no matter what, we're not allowed to make this show political. But all I'll say is, I had a bet at 80-1 about 6 months ago, and thanks to the American people, I had enough money as of yesterday that Paddy Power paid out. I've now ordered a Mastodon and 3 Xiphons. So the Xiphons are going to be my Lord of War suborbital slot for my White Scars, because
nice.
I couldn't think of any Lord of Wars that would really go with them as a jet bike kind of speeder force. So I'm going to have I can't decide between two Xiphons in the suborbital and a Fire Raptor. Or 3 Xiphons, but I want triple Xiphon at some point anyway, because I think that's really fluffy.
In the suborbital, don't you have to take maximum of 3 of the same type? I can't remember.
I think it's up to 3.
I thought it was up to 3 of the same type. That's all I don't
know. Sorry, I'm not saying to take the Fire Raptor in there. I'm saying I'd take 2
Xiphons or a Fire Raptor in the suborbital.
No, because the Fire Raptor is a heavy support, so I'd take 2 Xiphons in the suborbital and then a Fire Raptor in there.
Fair enough, yeah.
But yeah, just I couldn't. Every time I looked at it, the discussion across the White Scar community is like, what do we do for our Lord of War? Because obviously it would have to be something that felt speedy, and none of the Lord of Wars really do. I can't, no one really sees these big tanks like flying around doing handbrake skids and stuff, keeping up with jet bikes, and firing off their main cannons and like doing burnouts and dragging around. So. Yeah, so I went with flyers. I thought that it'd be limited if it's an event without them, but I know they're not the most competitive, but I really like the Xiphon model, so I thought that would work. I can't bring myself to just fit in some of the Imperial flyers. I think we've discussed it before, trying to like just squeeze the Imperial flyers in there while it's perfectly fluffy. And yes, they would have flown with the Legions. I felt like the Xiphon fitted better. So yeah, that's pretty much me done. Building jet bikes.
Fair enough. I guess that kind of leaves me then, doesn't it? What have I been posting about lately? Because I tend to put a lot of my hobby progress up on the Facebook page because I need internet validation on what I'm doing because, needy. I'm currently in the process of 1,000-point build and paint blitz to get done ready for Horus Brawl at the end of January. So I've built 9... Mark 3s who are going to take melter guns and become a support squad. So I got those built. They were really cool. I like them. Built 2 more quad mortars and crews the other day, so I wanted to get those done. So I've got 13 infantry. That's the last of the infantry I need to paint. Got 2 more rhinos, so that's for my vet squad and my support squad. And I got a load of multi-mouters. I got those 4 multi-mouters, so that 2 to go on the new rhinos and 2 to go on my other 2 rhinos. So they're all multi-mounted up. Got Damocles to build and paint as well. So yeah, I'm in a bit of a not so much of a painting blitz at the moment. I'm in a bit of a build blitz, but I'm going to paint the infantry up first. Bash through that, so I will have painted. What am I looking at? 23. Marines in the last month, so I just want to get those out, get those out of the way and done, and then I'm going to reward myself by painting rhinos because Sam, you know how much us MKers love painting rhinos, don't we?
Oh yes, we do.
What was the comment that was made to Matt at Shadow Wars? You can tell who's MKA. All you've got to do is look at their rhinos.
Yeah, that's exactly the one.
So that was pretty cool. I mean, I've been pretty tied up doing the event the last few weeks. I've painted a table's worth of scenery, speed painted. It's not not the best standard in the world. It was kind of just a case of get the paint on it and get it out. So I'm going to go back and redo that at some point and tie that in a bit more on the table. But that took up a bit of time. And yeah, I guess that's probably it since the Storm Eagle was finished. Project Storm Eagle came to a wrap. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been up to lately. Cool. So we're going to have a little change up to the order of the things we normally do things, because we normally go into new cool things that we've seen now. But we kind of want to save that because that's going to kind of be 40k open day talk. So we're going to move in and have a look at the things we've seen about. So new stuff that's about. I think the first thing that we really need to give a shout out to is the Sons of Heresy podcast, which is going to land. Hopefully in the next week or two, there should be a new UK-based podcast. And for those of you who have been around in the 40k podcast scene before, or just generally in the hobby, you'll probably know the Overlords. So from the Overlords came Johnny and Jason, and they've been
my heroes.
And they've been joined by Mournival member Brendan Hickey. I mean, we're lucky enough the three of them came up to Tarsis with us, and we made them drink a lot of West Country cider and vodka slushies and Jägermeister. And the last I saw of Johnny, he had his head nuzzled between my legs trying to wrestle me, but as I left. So
This was after the event, listeners. This wasn't during the event. Tom went out for a curry with them, and I'm sure they didn't take that much persuading to get drinking.
I came over. I found Johnny drinking vodka slushies at about lunchtime. So they came in, and the first thing they said was, "When's the bar open?" I think Brendan was pretty stoked on the fact there was an open bar, wasn't there? He was pretty chuffed with that. So yeah,
I was going to say, I was wondering why you were referencing Johnny's head between your legs. I was like trying to bribe the judges, during the event.
So yeah, they're going to be dropping a podcast hopefully soon. We had a good chat about stuff. It sounds really exciting. I don't want to say too much because kind of that's their bag, and I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, I mean we've shared a couple of posts, and we'll obviously make you guys aware of stuff. But Johnny, Jason, and Brendan, really cool dudes, really into their heresy. They came up with 3 beautiful armies. I think Brendan walked away with best painted. Sorry, spoilers for the later event. Brendan walked away with best painted, and Johnny and Jason's were stunning armies, weren't they? So that was cool. Wanted to give them a shout out. What have you guys seen out and about then that's been cool?
Same guys I mentioned, I think in the last episode, who built the Malkador. So it's Hawk Jacobson. So obviously got my obsession with him. I think it's because he's got such a sexy name. I don't know this guy, so he's probably very scared now if he ever hears about this. But he posted up some stuff that he I think made a little while ago, but it's his own conversions of sisters, and he's got out of an old Rogue Trader Rhino, he's got a Grav Rhino in there as well. So it just really, really cool. And again, that's in the Horus Heresy painting and modelling group. So go and have a scroll back through. I don't think it was too long ago. I think it was only about 4 or 5 days ago. So go and have a little bit through, or search Hawk Jacobson and then see if you can find his stuff. You probably already seen it, to be fair. If you listen to this, you probably a member of that group, and you've probably already seen his stuff. But I thought it was really cool and pretty amazing quality stuff, considering the models are released now and how close they are to what his vision was a little while ago. So very cool.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's been more activity on the hashtag Painting Forge World as well, hasn't there? That was pretty cool.
Yeah, they seem to have
There's loads more images on there now.
Yeah, they've thrown a ton. I think even their email said thousands more images, didn't it? And they've actually now linked them onto the pages with the product, which is awesome as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. If we start getting commission for extra sales for those products, that'd be awesome. If you're listening, Forge World, so if you sell a Pollux or a Spartan, I now expect
10%.
10%. Yeah,
I'll take 10% on any Venator.
They can pay me in resin if they prefer. That'd be fine.
Yeah, free shit, free models. That'd be awesome. So yeah, I mean, do you have to? It's Instagram where they pick up Painting Forge World, isn't it?
I think so. I've put the hashtag in elsewhere, but I think they're only searching on Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah. So
if you go on. Sorry.
No, sorry, Sam. You go for it, buddy.
Yeah, if you post up an image on via your Instagram, whatever, of the model that you're painting, and then you put hashtag Painting Forge World or hashtag Painting Games Workshop, they usually respond to you, basically asking whether or not they can use your image, and then you respond, and then within a few weeks, usually, you see your stuff on that gallery.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, I know it's what's really cool is it's not just reams and reams of commissioned painters. There seems to be a really good mix. Because obviously, I know Sam, I think you've got some images up there.
Yeah, there's a few bits and bobs of mine.
Yeah.
Mostly of my son's Horus Army.
Yeah, and there's people like Rob in our gaming group who's an awesome painter, Rob Duncan, who's really, really good painter and a converter, and but he's just he's a hobby fiend, and his lore guard's actually up on the page as well. And I know from some incredibly excited Facebook statuses, he was absolutely pleased as piss to see his stuff on there. So, I mean, how good was that, and the fact they've credited all the artists on the images as well.
That surprised me loads because it actually says my painting page, and I thought they'd stay clear of that, and I wouldn't have been offended at all because it's obviously advertising in its own little way someone else's business. But really, really fair play to them. It's amazing, hasn't it? Doing something so simple has made so many hobbyists excited. If you follow hobbyists on Instagram, all you've got is people posting up screenshots of, yay, I'm on there. And I think it's really cool, really simple, and a great way of engaging with your customers in your community.
I love how they've got a lot of the work in progress shots as well.
Yeah, that's really cool.
As you said, it's not just sort of like pristine photos of completed miniatures. You've got, stuff that looks really, really cool, before it's even been finished. So you don't need everything to look as snazzy as it can be. In a professional photo shoot, you can bash up your stuff on Instagram or Twitter if they gather the images from there as well. And there's a chance that you can still see your stuff in that gallery.
Yeah,
there's a lot of pictures of cutting mats and stuff, isn't there? It's not all people that you don't have to have taken your picture or on a nice posh background. Yeah, some of that's Richard Gray's work in progress, which is a little bit different to other people's work in progress, but it's amazing stuff. I think it's really, really cool.
Stu, you mentioned in one of the pictures you could see Tom's mug. Did you mean his face or like a painted mug?
his face. It was, they quoted his Instagram. They credited your Instagram, didn't they? My painting page and our Gino Instagram as well, because I took our pictures from all three sources. But
what was his face in the reflection, or I didn't see the picture?
It's just his Facebook. It's just his Instagram profile with him with his hat on.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I assumed it was like a picture of one of the tanks or something. That I saw your Imperial Fists Spartan. On the capsule.
Yeah, that was on there, and my Pollux was up, I think.
Yeah,
there's loads of Imperial Fists in that feed when it went up. I mean, for somebody like me who's literally just started a Fist army, there's loads of reference. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
what's really
good bit out there.
I mentioned community as well. I mean, we've said for ages it's that is like that's what it's all about, and that's what the modern world is enabling. Finally, is that community aspect, all corners of the world, instantly, anytime, and they're definitely embracing that much more. The other day they launched midweek they announced the release of the community, the Warhammer community.
Yeah, there's a teaser, wasn't there?
Yeah, and at first we were saying, what do you think it's going to be? Is it going to be an app or was it going to be a web page? And I instantly went and looked up all the registrars, and they have registered warhammercommunity.com.co.uk, all of the TLDs. So we knew it was going to be a website. And then the next teaser, it actually now, if you go and read the press release, it now says that it's going to be a website and a forum, and it says it's going to be the center, the center of the Warhammer community. So they're obviously realizing they want to go back to having that web presence. I hope they moderate it a bit more heavy-handedly than they used to with the previous forum.
They've been quite heavy-handed on the Facebook groups. They've been pretty damn clear about what they want, and I know there has been stuff. I've been on there, and it's not so much the sort of delete and ban method. It's the more kind of, dude, if you've got a problem, come and talk to us. Send us an email. This is not what we want on the community page. Those kind of things.
Yeah. Good community managers. Yeah, it's I've not seen any problems. I've seen they either nip it in the bud, or like you say, they give a kind of adult response. And if it goes beyond that, it's just gone, and that keeps everybody happy. Everybody knows why they're there. and everyone's making use of it for that community feel, and it's really cool. I'm really happy with the new engagement that we're seeing.
Yeah, the community stuff seems really exciting, to be fair. It has been really good to see. I think if anybody in GW has looked at this and gone, has our change of attitude had a positive effect in the last few months? I think it would be bloody easy to see. Yeah, I mean, the Painting Forge World hashtag, like we said, how many excited people have there been to see their models on? And nobody's gone, oh, well, I want paying for my model to be on there. Everyone's just gone, great, I'm on the Forge World site, amazing, and taking it in like the real kind of, good way and positive way. So it's really good to see.
You haven't seen the bill that Stu's been putting together.
Yeah.
For miniature realms.
The massive advertising invoice.
My stuff will all be down in a couple of days.
No, that's cool. So, I mean, anybody else? Sam, have you seen... I'm sorry, I'm skipping over you. Have you seen anything cool you'd like to shout out?
Yeah, well, most of the stuff I've seen new was when I went to the 40k Open Day last weekend, I think it was. Yeah. That was pretty good. It was more of a 30k Open Day than it was 40k Open Day, as usual. As always, Forge World stole the show. So it's really good to sort of be up again with some of the designers and the Forge World staff. As you mentioned earlier, there's that shiny new custodian tank. That I can't for the life of me remember what it's called. Can you guys remember what it's called?
Calidus smash you in the face tank.
Yeah, take a toughness test or die tank. That one. Basically, it's a Karin on steroids that hovers basically and has a flare shield.
Fast skimmer flare shield. Oh.
Yeah. Go on.
Sorry, we were actually at Tarsis during the day on the 5th when that all came out, and there is at least one section. I think. Are you going to leave the grav tank section into the Tarsis, Stu?
I don't think I'll be taking any of it out of Tarsis.
Yeah, so there's a very exciting conversation we had about the rules and stuff as we're all looking at it on the phone and going, oh my god! I think about 3 people came to sit with us and talk, and we're like, look at this, what do you think? And everyone goes, holy fuck. So.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was real at first. I thought we were high on those like neon slushies, like LSD slushies. It was so like we saw the wolves and like people were running up and down with their phones and they'd be like, look, Ferry, Gary and Fecky and Ferry, whatever their names are, and then like, oh, everyone, and then the hover tank,
Yeah.
I stuck my phone under Jason Mullins' nose with a picture of Frecky and Geki on there, stood next to Russ. And he was, to be fair, he was mid-game. He was kind of like, oh yeah, I've seen Russ. And I was like, no, I pointed at the sides and he was like, oh my God! It took him like 30 seconds to like realise what I was showing him. And he just was like, oh my God! I mean, Frecky and Geki are huge, aren't they? They are absolutely
massive. They're not small models at all. They're like... for those of you who have seen the plastic Thunderwolf Cavalry from the 40k Space Wolves, they're bigger. Like those, but a bit beefier.
I think they're probably about 20% bigger. They're quite a bit bigger. They're one of them's like I assume the bases are optional. I don't know what the word is, but both of them. There's one's a dead Thousand Sun, and then the other one's like eating a Thousand Sun, like he's ripping the guy's head off. Like, absolutely amazing.
I can kind of see now. I've seen those why they didn't want to include him in the Primark box. You could see with that much resin in there, it could be like 120, 130 pound model for it all 3 together. And I could see people going, well, why is my Primark twice the price of other people's Primarks? I don't really want the walls. So I think I'm glad Forge World has separated them off because it's allowed them to do them justice. Because if they'd have tried to do them and maybe skimp on them to keep the price down, I think we'd have all been going, oh, well, Frecky and Geki are a bit shit. Now we've actually got, if you want the walls to go with Russ, you've got some fucking awesome sculpts to go with them.
Yeah, it
adds into that.
Well. It enables them to know that everyone that would buy it to paint it, and there are loads of people that just buy to paint all the Primarks, and the people who would buy because it's their Primark. But then there's the gamers, and if it gets to the point where the wolves aren't optional, I assume they're going to be optional, but if they're not, then everybody who wants to game with him is also then going to have to buy the wolves. So it works both ways. It's great for them, like as you say, to allow modelers and hobbyists and stuff to have him, but then equally it doesn't push people out of the price bracket as well.
From a painting perspective, again, ends to that as well. I would love to see a display base, a bit like the ones they've been doing for the character series already with Russ and the two wolves, and then a bit like the Fulgrim and Ferrus sort of dual display base mashup. Have that with Magnus.
Yeah, that would be
make an
super
awesome, huge diorama. I mean, there's been a running joke that each character from Forge World has slowly had a larger base with a more ridiculous thing dead on it. Forge World, why not just go whole hog and just whack a dead warlord and have them fight on top of that,
Well, Sam, we know somebody likes to put dead warlord bits on their display bases for their town miniatures, don't we, Mr. Andy?
Yes, we do.
Somebody goes and gets a warlord power claw and says, "I'm going to use that as a display base."
Do you know what that'd be great as? Dead on my base.
Yeah, for my 2 plastic town models.
Yeah.
Now, fair play. Actually, Andy's display base was awesome in the model.
He wasn't the only person actually that did that either at the event. There was another diorama that did a similar thing with the Titan Power Fist.
It's how to make an impact, isn't it? I mean, it's a really cool model.
It's an amazing fist. As much as a gauntlet can be cool, it is a fucking cool fist. Like you look at it and think almost like, oh, I want to buy and paint that. And it's like, can you just have a fist like on display on the on your shelf? I don't know.
Well, as long as it's not a black rubber one, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So steering away from that, Sam, what else? Yeah, we might as well roll into Open Day then. So tell us about the Open Day then. Give us a sum up of your weekend and what kind of cool stuff you got up to there.
Overall, the weekend was really good for again the 30k aspect of the hobby. I went with a friend and we got there sort of not long after opening, and we hadn't really anticipated how popular this event was going to be. So one of the first things that we noticed when we went in, we sort of greeted at the door and the tickets were checked, and it was here that you were given sort of subsequent like mini tickets to the little seminars.
Yeah.
Now, by the time that we'd arrived, all of the sort of mini tickets for these seminars had completely sold out. I mean, they weren't. There was no cost involved. That they were free. But
the allocation had been given out.
Yeah. So for me, that was pretty disappointing. I was quite upset by that, to be honest, because I would have really liked to have sat down in some of the Forge World seminars, or even just some of the other painting ones. I think Phil, can't pronounce his surname for the life of me, was doing a really, really good seminar on how to weather Forge World vehicles, which I would have loved to have gone to.
So going back, so how does this run then? So how these aren't included in the price per se? Like you don't believe you're getting access to them when you buy your ticket? Like, it's not implied. Like how does that work?
So, as far as I was concerned, they were going to run the seminars, and anybody at the open day would have been able to sort of watch it. Maybe they'd have like a conference room or something for you to be able to go into. Everybody could sit down and basically watch the seminar. Either through like a big screen and a camera, with the painting desk down the front, or with some of the authors or what have you over the microphone. But no. As you sort of arrive to the event, and as I said, they validate your ticket for the open day, they would have a list of the seminars available that you could attend. And then if you would pick the ones you'd want to go to, and they would put like a little sort of coloured sticker on your event ticket on your lanyard, which then gave you access to those seminars. Now, if you didn't have any of those coloured stickers, unfortunately, you weren't able to go in. And as I said, by the time we'd arrived, there was none available. Kind
of ties into that frustration that we talked about with the actual Horus Heresy weekend ticketing. I think the issue of having a fair shot at getting what you want. You
Have
know,
we talked about that yet?
have we discussed that? Did we
We
discuss
we
that?
we haven't as part of the show. I'd like to talk about it later, but let's leave that till
Yeah, let's
after the
leave it.
40k open day chat.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah, I
it
mean-
might
sorry,
be
I
a
mean-
little bit disjointed if we
Yeah.
launch into
Okay,
it.
so from my point of view, it's very obvious a capacity issue. It's a logistical issue. It's a holy shit, thousands more people want to come to a event than we expected.
Yeah.
Is that pretty much how everyone views this?
Yeah. For me, I wasn't sort of overly bothered. I mean, I would have liked to have gone. I was a bit disappointed by it, I won't lie. But my friend that I went with, he'd not been to sort of any sort of proper sort of 40k oriented events before, and so that for him, because he wasn't entering Golden Demon, he wasn't going there really for any other reason than just to simply sort of be inspired by the seminars to see what was going on. And for him, who's just driven all this way up from down, the southwest where we live.
Yeah.
He was really quite knocked by that. He was really, really disappointed.
You said
so it wasn't a great start to the event, if I'm honest.
He's new to the hobby, is he? You say?
No, he's not new to the hobby as such. He's just a very, very casual hobbyist. He doesn't, he dabbles in it every now and again, and he sort of uses these, opportunities like events, I should say, to I don't know, just to see what's going on with the hobby and just get inspired to do a new project. Basically, that's what he likes. He likes the communal aspect to it. But yeah, so that was the first hiccup, which we sort of shrugged off and thought, well, it's fine, we'll carry on. So yeah, then we went up into the gaming hall. Most of the tables had been set aside into sort of a smaller area for a planned kill team event that they had available on the open day, that we weren't aware of. I think it was probably advertised, but we didn't know about it at all. What else do they have? Forge World had a second stall as such, next door to their new extended physical store that they've got within Warhammer World. There they were selling a lot of the exclusive items that you could buy, your typical t-shirts. They had a lot of like art canvas prints of various characters. They had what I remember, they had the macro-carried explorator, the Mechanicum Land Raider tank thing, available on pre-release, as did, what else did they have? Oh, of course, the custodian, the Calidus Grav Tank of Death. What else did they have?
Sam, just to cut in there, maybe me getting confused of what I've seen the last year. Did they have the sort of non-tank transport version there as well? Or did I just see a model without the gun turret on top?
Yeah, no, they did. Yeah, I was literally about to go on to that.
Cool.
This wasn't on sale. This was part of the stuff they had on display in Forge World's little section. Yeah, I couldn't really work out what it was. It's a
jet bike. It's a small jet bike.
Oh, right.
Single person jet bike, yeah. Sorry, and it's not Calidus, it's Caladius. Sorry.
Oh, okay, right.
I was mispronouncing this. I was confusing it with the assassin, but yeah, Caladius.
Okay, yeah. So they didn't have that little jet bike skimmery thing available either. But I think in terms of pre-releases, it was just those two. From Forge World anyway. But again, moving back to what was available for 40k, being a 40k open day, the main reason that my friend was there, being more so a 40k player than anything else, there was nothing. Nothing available on pre-release, nothing available on preview, nothing at all. There was a new display that they'd made for the Genestealer cults and Deathwatch, which is awesome, by the way. It's really, really cool to see. There's probably pictures of online. You've got what looks like a outskirt of a city, sort of manufactorum area. So it's really built up and developed. There's lots of pipes, sort of thing you'd probably see on a scene from Alien. You've got blast doors opening up, but there's sort of hordes of Genestealers pouring out, and sort of these Deathwatch Marines are just trying to hack them apart. I think it was actually in White Dwarf last month.
I haven't seen pictures of that. I saw pictures of the Prospero.
Did you guys see the battle report?
Yeah, I think I know what you mean.
It's
massive
that board.
multi-layer board, isn't it? Yeah, it looked really cool.
That's the one. Yeah, it was that. That was on display, and that was pretty cool to see.
Sounds awesome.
But yeah, it was good to see a lot of some of the studio painters, some of the heavy metal painters as well. See examples of their work in the cabinet. But in terms of sort of content for 40k players, I think some would agree with my friends that it was quite disappointing. But me being there for 30k, I was pretty chuffed with what Forge World had on display, to be fair.
Maybe you can answer me a question, Sam.
Yeah, go for it.
Because this is something that kind of came up. What was there for 40k? Because the kind of open day felt very heresy based. Like there was obviously Prospero, there was the Custos, there was the big diorama. We're not a 40k cast, and I don't want to get into too much. I just kind of want to, I kind of get the point. What was the point of it being a 40k open day?
Honestly, I don't know. It was, like I said, it was pretty disappointing. I would imagine it would have been pretty disappointing for any 40k player, really.
I've got to remember, Horus Heresy is an expansion for 40k.
Yeah, it is. But I feel it was an opportunity more so for Forge World to push on the 30k genre as such, more so than what we would understand as being 40k in the 41st millennium.
Do you think maybe some stuff wasn't ready? And that we were talking about this not on the cast. I don't think we did on the cast. So if it's in the Tarsis section, apologies. But I just wonder whether maybe they had some stuff planned. So we got Magnus, haven't we? Maybe we've got 40k Thousand Suns around the corner, and maybe they wanted to have some more stuff for that, and it's not ready on time. And then Forge World were like, well, we've got some stuff to sort of sling up and fill the gap. But it does look like there's going to be something coming for 40k soon with Magnus being released. He's not going to be a model out on its own. There's got to be a book release, and I don't follow 40k either, but what's going on with the Space Wolves and things at the moment, it looks like there's been some artwork released, wasn't there, with Thousand Suns attacking? So
there's a massive Zinch and a massive Thousand Suns release coming, but did they just push that back, or like you say, has it been delayed? I don't know.
Nothing was mentioned about it at the event. They had Magnus on display. There are two versions of Magnus on display, actually. The small version that I think they used for practicing sort of colour schemes instead of having to paint, an enormous model. It's like the Magnus that we've seen via Warhammer TV. And then they had that one, which is absolutely brilliant.
Did you think he looked a lot better with a different paint scheme? From the photos I saw, it looked so much better than the leaked shitty photos.
If I'm honest, I quite like both. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a massive fan of the model. I love the model. A lot of people I appreciate don't like it, but I felt that the new photos I saw, the paint scheme really did it, or maybe the lighting did it justice. The armor looks incredible.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the plan with that is because they've got the ability to be able to sort of cast out, print out, however they do it, the miniature versions. Maybe they're going to do some sort of like Magnus painting guide in the future that will have sort of different sort of color schemes in that you can, people can reference to paint up on their own models. I mean, they've done that with the Prospero set. You flick to the back of the painting guide that they did for that, and you've got all of the legions in sort of various different color schemes and what have you. That was that basically for 40k. I mean, the participation games that they had available was the Kill Team event, which a few people took part of, and obviously Golden Demon as well, Enemies of the Imperium.
Yeah. So how did Golden Demon go then? So did you enter, didn't you?
I did enter. So when I was last on, I referenced that I was going to be entering some stuff from Genestealer Cult's army. But 2 weeks towards the event, I managed to put my back out, so I was not able to actually complete any of the entries that I had planned for the Golden Demon. But
was that lifting all those heavy miniatures?
Yeah, that's what it was, mate. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You didn't tell me that when I was taking the piss out of you on Facebook the other day, but
no, yeah. I thought it. I'm going to try and enter something anyway. It would be a shame not to go to a Golden Demon and throw something in, for the shits and gigs. yeah, so I put in some stuff from my Sons of Horus army, the arch traitors themselves that started everything in the first place. So I put in my Horus for the single figure, the Lightning Strike Fighter that I painted on one of the MK weekends a few months ago into the vehicle category. And then I put a Contemptor Talon into the Unbound category. Yeah, it was really, really nice to see a lot of various different sort of styles and techniques that people had painted. The quality of work overall was just absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, some of you guys have probably seen some sort of photos and stuff that have been taken online, but I think until you see the official photos in White Dwarf or up on the Golden Demon website, the pictures just simply don't do the models justice yet. So hopefully they'll be out soon, and you'll be able to see exactly what I'm talking about. But fantastic work all round from the people who entered. And from that, I walked away with 3 finalist pins for my entries, which was pretty sweet. I was pretty gutted that I didn't manage to finish the stuff that I wanted to in time, but to walk away with 3 finalist pins for stuff that I use in my gaming army, to me that was absolutely brilliant. That was a fantastic result.
Do you have a collection of pins now, like on your bag, or where do you put them?
I've just got my little box.
Do you wear them on your work shirt? Like,
no, sadly not. I mean, when I used to work at GW, I had a sort of collection of badges I used to keep on my lanyard. So had I still been working there, I would have probably put them on there. But
you need like a scout. Like, where do scouts wear them? On like a scarf. You need like a scarf, just like a collection of pins.
As long as those pins start turning into golden demons at some point in the future, I'll be happy.
You'd come back and be like, I won the Slayer sword. Was there even a sword at this event?
Yeah, definitely. A guy called David Soper won the sword for this event. He entered I think he won 2 golden demons. The one I can remember the most was the one he won the Slayer sword for, and that was a Eldar Farseer.
I saw that.
That was absolutely stunning.
It's just the Farseer on the Harlequin base. Like he's kind of jumping on one foot.
Yeah, he's sort of like floating in his like water droplets, like sort of like leaking out everywhere on the base.
You guys think that's okay? I didn't realize that won the Slayer sword. So we're gonna have to have a separate episode of you telling people like me why that's good, because don't get me wrong, it looks good, but I would never look at that and think, oh my god, that's the greatest painted miniature in the world.
I don't think the pictures, or any pictures of any miniatures tend to do the models justice. There was a lot of detail on that. I spent sort of a good sort of 15-20 minutes just sort of staring at that one alone. And there was models of all different calibers and all different styles and quality of painting in these cabinets. And I mean, there were a lot of entries. I mean, people could quite easily stand there for a few hours looking at and inspecting every single one. The judges have got quite a challenge on their hands when they eventually come to picking the winners, and obviously eventually the Slayer sword. I got some feedback from my stuff towards the end about the stuff they sort of look for when they're judging Golden Demon entries. Maybe that's something I can sort of go into in a later show with you guys. But it was definitely they look for the minor details, and it could be it can make or break you basically. It could be the difference between you getting a finalist pin and you actually sort of getting a Golden Demon yourself.
The bottom side of your.
Don't mention it. Don't mention that bottom side.
Hey, it's all right. Andy's Fellblade had dry brush tracks, so.
No. Really?
Did you not? Oh, you weren't privy to that conversation with me. So
no, I missed this one. I kept that quiet.
I know. He was on. Who was he on with? He was on somebody's. He was on a podcast. I want to say Imperial Truth, but I might be making it up. But I'm pretty sure he dry brushed the edges of his tank tracks on the Fellblade. I mean, his point was, if a technique works, it works. You don't have to always use the most complicated things, which I'm perfectly cool with. That's great, but it just makes me laugh.
Yeah, I think there's probably a difference between sort of my level of dry brushing and Andy Wardle's level of dry brushing. I mean, that guy can probably do it with his eyes closed and produce a Golden Demon winning piece.
To be fair,
in a few minutes. But yeah,
cool, awesome. Yeah, I mean, anything else you wanted to mention too about the 40k Open Day before we kind of roll on?
No, I think that's about it. I mean,
cool.
If there's anything else you guys can think of that I'm probably forgetting, let me know. We can go back to it.
Pretty comprehensive. So yeah, cool. I mean, we're going to roll into one last thing, guys. Then, so we've had a little bit of listener messaging. So we actively encourage you heckling us. The Facebook groups and stuff are definitely a really good way of getting in touch with us. I know, Stu, you're pretty active on the Twitter, aren't you?
Yeah, I used Twitter for ages, to be honest with you. I wasn't really much of a fan of Facebook. It's only been recently that I've sort of got into groups and the chat and stuff we use all the time. So I quite liked Facebook. Twitter. Facebook was a bit more for the unwashed masses, for normal, for everyday stuff. It's full of people posting up shit or
peasants
looking for attention by sort of saying, I'm depressed with a sad face, waiting for the comments to roll in.
Plenty of them.
But yeah, I used it for my business for a few years on Twitter, and I quite like Twitter. But yeah, I think we've had a question. We've had a question from a couple of Twitter guys, haven't we? And all kinds of stuff recently.
I'm sorry, Stu. Sorry, that's really bad radio, isn't it? Bashing all over each other. But yeah, I mean, sorry. I'm just gonna go and bash Stu off a bit more. That's what we like to do. But yeah, so I actually picked this one up on Twitter because I do check the Twitter every now and again. You might find some incoherent rambling, but we had a Fickle Brush who's thrown us in a question, and it's definitely one that's probably good for you, Nick. I'm doing great radio because he's asked about a right of war and I'm just getting hold of it. So he sent us in a message, said, hey guys, just wondering if you could help me out with the query. I've searched the deep unseeded web for answers, but I can't find this one. So I'm hoping you can shed some light on the matter. The World Eater's Right of War Crimson Path states that you may not include immobile units. He says, I'm guessing that it means no drop pods with dreadnoughts in them. Some say they're fine while others say they're not. Now, to me, and I'll throw this out there, as the response I gave him was from is a drop pod becomes immobile when you bring it in. It's not immobile till it lands. I'm pretty sure it says when it lands, it becomes an immobile vehicle. So it's like having your Rhino immobilized in the first turn. You're not buying an immobile unit. See, immobile to me is things like tarantula batteries that are immobile from the start. But that's kind of what I've got. I mean, how do you feel? I mean, Nick, you're probably the best one to throw this to first.
So this came up as there was a few similar rule disputes and things that we did a lot of querying, I did a lot of reading and discussing around a lot of forums, and the general consensus pretty much everywhere does seem to be, unless it clearly has the immobile rule in the unit type, whether it's not necessarily infantry or flyer or things like that, but if it has the immobile rule, like you said, you mentioned tarantulas or some fortification weapons, those sort of things, then at the point of list building, you choose the right of war, and it says you cannot choose your unit that is a part of that right of war cannot include a immobile unit. At that point, drop pods are not immobile. They don't have the immobile rule. So that's fine.
A really strange ruling.
It's not, because it carries. The reason it's not strange is because it carries out across all of lots of other similar rights of war. They use the same terminology. There's ones that say you may not have or may not include heavy, for example, like a heavy. They don't specify a heavy support. They don't like a force organization chart slot. They just say like no units with the heavy special rule. So people will go, oh, does that mean my unit of that have heavy weapons? And again, no. Like the weapon they have may have the heavy type.
Yeah.
But the unit does not have heavy. Some tanks have heavy. Now it may be a holdover from 6th. Some, like a lot of rules are, and a lot of confusing between different editions of the core 40k rulebook. But it's clear that's what the the intent again, a lot of people hate intent, but the intent is clear that it's not in the mobile unit, and a lot of the drop pods now aren't immobile when they come in anyway.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
at least two of them are flyers or aren't immobile units anyway. So
it's a bit of an interesting one.
If you read across the Right of Wars, it's quite clear that they're not referencing drop pods in that sense.
The only reason I would query it a bit more would be because there aren't actually, apart from the tarantulas you've mentioned, any units that I can think of really that are immobile from the get-go.
There's some fortifications or weapon emplacements that aren't actually classed as fortifications, I don't think, but you I'm going to start making things up.
Yeah, so I mean,
but there are some units that have got them. But again,
yeah,
some people argue it might be future-proofing. Some people might argue that it's a holdover from previous editions where they had more units. But again, the drop pods don't have it. So if you're saying, if you're not agreeing that it's a unit type or a unit rule, then you are making up rules because it doesn't actually say immobile anywhere. So in that case, they can take any unit they want. So why would they put the rule in there? So you can't have it both ways. You either are going by the rules and using you're saying it's a term, and therefore you look for that term, and nobody has it, or you're creating rules, in a permissive system. So yeah. Sorry, Tom, go on.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, in sort of support of that, you've got the Ultramarines Right of War. And that's very interesting because that actually states you can't have any units that arrive via deep strike. So that rolls out drop pods in a different way. So it kind of supports the fact that they could have said in the when they sort of said, you can't take any immobile units. If they wanted to rule out drop pods, they could have quite easily said the same thing. Don't take anything that arrives via deep strike. So,
well, as you say, the deep strike covers that. So,
yeah, no, that's what it does. But that's why I believe they don't cover drop pods, because if they wanted to ban you from taking drop pods, it's far easier to say don't take anything that arrives by deep strike. But I mean, I'm in agreement with you. I think it's if you say you can't take any immobile units, well, you say, well, once my Rhino's been immobilized, how can I take it? Because it's an immobile unit then. Does that make sense?
Again, at the time of list building, so the Right of War stipulates how you can take your units within your detachment, and can sometimes alter, restrict, limit access to unit types within the FOC. Now, you do that at the point of before the game, that magical before the game point. That before the game time also includes rolling on, for example, the warlord traits. So another great discussion that loads of people have, and one I was interested in for myself because of a potential Emperor's Children list, is things like the warlord trait that allows you to choose a unit and give it deep strike. So if you're building a list and some of the rights of war say you could only take units to build your FOC, to build your detachment, the Right of War stipulates you can only take units that can deep strike. At that time of building, because it's still in that before the game time, you roll to choose your warlord traits, or in some cases, like Fulgrim, you can choose one. He can choose the one that gives you deep strike, and you can give a unit deep strike. Therefore, you can take that unit, even though the unit doesn't normally have deep strike. That all happens before the game. And there are other examples within other Rights of War where it's very clear that the intent there is to allow certain units to be played, because they stipulate, it's really annoying. The way they all write all the rules is they never write it purely within its own little world. You have to take, not just in context of the one list you're trying to build or the one particular rule you're trying to query. You have to look at it across all the different Rights of War and across all the different systems, like, to understand how it's just badly written rules. To be honest, I'll try and justify it as much as I can, but yeah, a lot of the time it's just badly worded rules.
Yeah. So how's your feelings on that, Sam? Because you think you were on a slightly different tack to me and Nick?
Well, no, I wasn't arguing against it. I think, to be honest, personally, whenever you get rules queries like this, with 30k supposedly being a more narrative-driven, sort of relaxed game type, when compared with the current sort of community mindset for something like 40k, if somebody's going to really call you out on that, get really sort of nitpicky about the rules or whatever. If you want to field a drop pod world eater list, with guys, frothing at the mouth with chain axes pouring out drop pods, and they're going to have an issue with that, then you're playing the wrong person, to be honest, in my opinion.
So I was going to say, I think in my response to Ficklebrush, I said, if you turned up at one of my events with that, with a couple of drop pods in list, I wouldn't turn around and go, "Oh, you can't take that." I'd just go, "Yeah, cool. This will do."
Yeah, exactly.
They come out of drop pods.
So on the other hand, you might, at list submission, you'd point out, obviously, you can't take them because they can't deep strike. But that aside, if it was purely the immobile thing, you might say, you might call them up on it and say, my understanding is that a lot of people consider them to be immobile, even though that doesn't actually have the rule. Did you know that? And they might genuinely go, "Oh, I didn't know that," because, as I said, it's not actually there. Like, as a rule, it doesn't clearly say on the drop pod, immobile unit or whatever is required to fail that requirement on the right of war. So that's another good thing for list submissions, in my mind, is because it clears up those potential issues. But again, it's not game breaking. I don't think anyone would do it for gamey reasons, and if they did, then
it's like
that's what people you invite back.
Justin, who came to Tarsis, when he submitted his list, he put a knight errant as his only HQ. Now I totally could see what he was doing with his list. He got Raven Guard list led by a knight errant, special task force, kind of cool, but it quite clearly says in the rule they're a non-compulsory HQ. So I said to him, look, you can run your knight, but you need an HQ. Now, no problems with that, where it's clear cut, no problems. I'll go back to someone and say that's not right in the rules. If it's like, there was a query, there maybe is a little interpretation, of where, there is some, maybe some differing opinions. I would always, as long as if he sent me a list and I thought, fuck, that's really gamey, he's abusing drop pods in that list. Yeah, I might go back. If he'd taken, I don't know, Iron Hands in all drop pods or something, you go, it's not really, the fluff isn't there unless he's really come up with something really cool. But, World Eaters in drop pods with chain axes, they are known for smashing into the enemy as fast as they can.
Yeah, exactly.
No one's going to really have a problem with it, is it? So no. I think Ficklebrush, I think the answer is, I think we're fairly clear that the book, that the rule is that you can take them. There might be some interpretation, but I don't think, unless you were being a total tool with your list, that many people would object to it. So, cool. I think that kind of wraps us up. So, again, guys, if you want to get in touch with... Oh, no, hang on. I'm talking total shit, aren't I? Because we got some feedback on Twitter, didn't we? Was that you, Stu, that picked up the question from Phil on Twitter? Or was that you, Nick? Or neither of you?
Oh, I don't. I barely check Facebook or anything else, let alone Twitter.
That's fine.
It was me. I was still on mute after I went to the toilet. That's why you weren't hearing me.
Just went into a glass. It was out the window.
No. I'm inside today. It's I can't be asked to paint tonight, so I'm not sitting in the man cave. But no, I had to rush off to the toilet. I was on a chat with Tom about bashing, so I couldn't listen to the last section. So Phil, aka Manners on Twitter, asked a question just as we started recording, and so the answer to your question, Phil, yes, we do take questions. Now we can move on. Now, if so, which legion looks the best in the Forge World metallic scheme? So it's a good question to ask.
Good question.
Sam's on as well. So
go on, Sam. You throw yours out first, so I can shamelessly sit here and think.
Alpha Legion.
Which ones are there? Should we roll off the ones there are first? So there's Alpha
Legion. That'd be a good
idea. Emperor, Thousand Suns.
Word bearers. I know the MKA is a metallic word bearers, isn't it?
Yeah. Technically, you could argue Iron Hands are as well.
Yeah.
Because obviously they use the smoke method over the silvers and the weird washes. What else? I think those 4. I feel like we're forgetting one.
I think I think it's it officially, isn't it? I think Johnny had metallic blood angels, didn't they? Metallic
Yeah.
blood angels.
I
Slightly
think, to be
toned down
perfectly
from the
honest,
Thousand Suns one, but they look pretty cool.
you could do any of the legions metallic, because in theory it's ceramite, steel. It's all metallic paint over. You know, I've seen metallic ultramarines done. You know, I've seen metallic Emperor's Children's done. You know,
I'd like to see it on Emperor's Children. I think that would fit their blingy sort of fluff side of the armor. I think that would look quite cool. But I like 1,000 Suns. I think if it's done well, and we see a lot of it at the moment for obvious reasons. But I really like it. I think with Alpha Legion, I think you see it done not so well more often, and because of the colour choices, sometimes you can sort of, unless you're really sharp with the rest of it and you get the base
really
colour
hard
right.
to weather as well.
Yeah, unless you get the basing colour right, I think sometimes they can look a bit just like any others unless you look really, really close at them. So
It's a tricky scheme.
difficult. Yeah, I think it's harder. I think if you to pull off the Alpha Legion, I've not done it, but I think I get the impression looking at it, to pull off the Alpha Legion, you need to get it right and you need to be really, really neat with it and not go too thick. I see a lot of them with this far too many layers of the clear and they end up.
What was the chap's name that asked the question?
It's Phil. He's
AKA Manners.
AKA
Phil,
Manners. It is, yeah.
Drop a message to our buddy Alex, who's been practicing his Alpha Legion scheme. It's coming along really nicely. He's gone through the stages of learning airbrushing metallics, and I think his Alpha Legion look amazing now. They're finally getting to the point where they look really cool. He's got the colour down, the two-tone. I love the two-tone.
Yeah, he's done really well, bless him, isn't he? He's gone from not painting anything really at all to trying to do it with brush, realising that Tamiya stuff is really doesn't work very well with the brush if you're trying to do a nice even coat.
Yeah.
To watching Tom airbrush, to going out and buying one and having a go and playing around, and then he's really just starting to get.
So that's the
really
question
nice
then. Is it possible to do it properly, brush?
I have seen quite a few people doing sections, especially on custos, with the technical paints from GW, the Spirit Stone stuff. So I've seen a couple of custom shoulder pads where people have filled in some details with it, and I think you can do it in smaller details maybe with a brush. I think to get a smooth texture across them. Definitely not with the Tamiyas. I think, Sam, you know the joy of Tamiya, don't you? That you put it on the brush, and by the time you've got it to the model, it's dried. Yeah,
it's really, really difficult stuff to use. I mean,
it's
if
really
you want
tacky,
to try and brush it, it can ruin your brushes as well.
It's
alcohol
based, isn't it?
Yeah, it's alcohol based. So that's one of the reasons why it dries so quickly.
Yeah.
I had a friend, funny enough, the guy I'm going to the doubles with our Imperial Fist armies, he started an Einhands army a few months back, and he didn't have an airbrush, and he tried brushing the forge-oiled petrol-y Tamiya clear scheme.
Yeah.
And he managed to do it, actually, somehow. But then he did sort of crumble, bought himself an airbrush, tried it that way round, and the overall finish was miles apart.
There was I know I saved the link actually. I think it's GW Berry, where the guy who's the manager there is a very, very good painter. I know he did a non-metallic metal Storm. What's a bloody Storm Jobby Sigmar matey?
Space Marine.
Sigmar Space Marine, whatever he's called. He did 1,000 Suns paint job using the gold metallic method with the Spirit Stone, and I'm pretty sure he brush painted that, and he did a really good job on that. But like I said, I think he's a really, really top quality painter. So I think if you're looking at doing that, and he was only doing an infantry, he did a marine, so maybe it's doable that way. The Spirit Stone stuff I've got, and it definitely doesn't dry out as quick as the Tamiya stuff, so it might be possible. But I think the metallic scheme, to get it smooth and get that polished finish, the airbrush is the way to do it, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's actually try and answer Phil's question then. So votes all around then. What Legion looks best in metallic? Start with you, Stu.
I like 1,000 Suns. I think it looks awesome.
Sam?
I'm a sucker for the Alpha Legion, like we said. When it's done right, awesome.
And Nick?
Yeah, I'm an Alpha Legion whore. I can't ever escape that. It looks really good. What was the other guy at the event at Tarsis who won best? Was it the players vote? He won best. Oh, Brendan won the hobby.
Sai, wasn't it? Sai, the Alpha
Sai.
Legion player.
He won the paint. He won painted by player vote. Was that right?
He won the
best
hobby event, and he was.
Oh,
I told him.
sorry.
I told him at the end he was really, really close to getting best painted anyway.
Yeah.
I think
So that was a great example. It was a great example of not just getting the two-tone right, because you don't want it too blue, you don't want it too green. It needs to be that kind of that non-existent color that the Alpha Legion supposedly paint armor, but also the weathering. It's really hard, in my opinion, to get that right.
Yeah,
and
he's done a really good job of it, especially on his drop pods. It looked awesome on his drop pods.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And his salamander. I know this is he had fire drakes in there as his.
Brilliant.
But they are awesome, and you can see that's his new armor. You can see he's moved on a level since he's painted his Alpha Legion as well. They were really good. And I think he's got 12 pictures up on the Forge World site, so they've used 12 of his pictures. So he's if you see Alpha Legion on there's a pretty good chance they'll be here. So it's worth having a look.
I think Cy Davis has joined our ranks as well, hasn't he, Sam? He might be a sort of MKA here as well. So I think his salamanders are where he started. I think he's a recent addition on the last course, and I think he started his salamanders on the course. So which is why I think the fire drakes are jumped. But I might be talking total crap.
I think I actually played him at the Shadow War a few weeks ago. Can't remember. It might have been him. I'm rubbish with names, unfortunately. Sorry if it was you. I apologise in advance.
He's my wife was looking at the pictures with me on Facebook of the event, and she said he doesn't look like a gamer. So, Si, my wife says you don't look like a gamer, whatever that means. Maybe that means absence of neckbeard or whatever the other things that we.
Or is that
no, she meant that in a nice way, but she said he doesn't look like a gamer.
Does that mean I look like a gamer?
Well, you've got a neckbeard, haven't you, Tom?
I've got beard everywhere.
So all three of us have got beards actually. She
She
didn't look at everyone else. She didn't grade everyone else as well. He wasn't the only one that didn't look like a gamer. But she just looked over my shoulder and went, "Was he gaming?" Yeah, he doesn't look like a gamer.
That wasn't her afternoon. You made us sit down each person and rate them.
Yeah, go through all these photos.
There's the next award for our next event then, Stu. You're going to have to take a picture of every gamer at the start of the event and send them to your wife, and she gets to rate the gamers. And we'll have a special award for least gamer-looking gamer.
Finds its way she swipes. Anyway, so
yeah. Gamer Tinder. Oh, fucking hell. Nice. Right, I think, have I got any more? Yeah, can I actually finish this section now? Have I?
I don't know. Can I talk about the weekend of tickets and then when we?
No. That old chestnut.
That old chestnut. No, I want to talk about it because I mentioned it. I mentioned it in our group, and I think that the people in our Geno group would have seen my post, and was a few people replied to it, so it'll be a bit odd if I didn't mention it.
I think the whole world saw your tears. It was like Noah's flood.
I was disappointed, definitely disappointed.
For anybody that's listening, take a seat. This is going to go on for a while.
I'm going to try to be quite good because I think a lot of it's been burnt out of me in the last couple of weeks. If we recorded the day after, it would have been a right mess. But I think I'll probably try and make it better.
But I was trying my hardest to bait Sam into talk about the fact that his buddy was new to events or was. New to it was his first 40k. I was going to bring the conversation around to, well, why should he expect to be allowed to have a ticket? Like he's not in the elite club.
He's not actually going.
All the people who have previously to the 40k one, like you said, you felt surprised that all the the little sub things had sold out, but he's obviously not in the club. He's not part of the cool club.
Well,
So
I
yeah.
didn't. I
He's
didn't
not
use the
entitled
word
to
elite
that
in my
stuff.
post at any point because I've not got a beef with anyone that's got a ticket. It's not their
Shall
fault.
we give it some context because we've kind of fired into it?
Yeah,
Stu,
I think most people will understand that who listen to this that there is a thing called a Horus Heresy Weekender,
yeah.
which is a
Yeah,
Is that? Really?
which is
No
a
way.
which is a big event or big small event that's a little bit different to the other open
Very
days.
small event.
It's great. I mean, I've not been before, but it's 5 years now, Sam. Is it? Will this be the 5th year?
Something like that. Yeah, it's been going a
think this will
while.
be
I
the
mean,
fifth
everybody
year.
that's into the Horus Heresy hobby should go there.
Unfortunately, more than 350 people are into the Horus Heresy hobby. But my only beef isn't to do. I'll keep it brief, really, but isn't to do with the numbers of tickets on sale because I know it's been reduced from the previous year. I understand why they did it because of the sort of intimate nature of the event and the way you want to keep it. Not got a problem with that. I haven't got a problem with anyone that's bought tickets, but I've got a problem with the way the tickets were sold. So for those who don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sam, but I think 300 tickets were put up for pre-sale for people who have been the year before, and they were
As
allowed to buy up to
far as
4.
I'm aware, yeah.
So they're allowed to buy up to 4, which only left 50 left to go on sale on the normal day, and I think they were sold out in 14 minutes. So the problem I have with that is it's a little unfair in the way they're allocated. It sort of prevents people that might have not been before getting to go and get to go in the first place.
Fairness.
Yeah,
my
well,
my sort of issue with it, and I'm speaking as somebody that managed to get a ticket, was that last year it was well overly populated. There were too many people there, and for each person that went to that, obviously they got the pre-release email, and as you said, each person was able to get up to 4 tickets. I mean, let's do the maths. So say there was 450 people there last year. All of those people would have had an email for this event, all of which would have been given the opportunity to have 4 tickets each. That event is no longer being, sold specifically just for 350 people. In the event that everybody buys more tickets than they're anticipating. They were actually available as well at the 40k open day. Well, I say they were available when the event was sort of about to start. So people were queuing outside of Warhammer World. They had 10 available on each day, and basically the first 10 people in the queue for both days nabbed them up straight away.
When you can resell them for 250 quid on eBay, I would have fucking bought them as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen
Scalpers.
6 or 7 on eBay, and that's there might have been more. I mean, I looked on the first day when they were sold out, and there was some up straight away, a couple up straight away, and then I didn't look for a few days, and a few days later I thought, oh, I'll have another little look, and I've seen another 5 go up, another one went up today, I think, and I'm not. That's annoying, but that's not the numbers that create the problem. I think what creates the problem is allowing previous years people to have 4. 2.
Yeah.
It would have been fine. There's lots of things you could do. You could allow the pre-email to go out and maybe only put 200 up for pre-sale.
So again, I
allow
think we need
2
to,
people.
I think we need to take this
Let
back to
me
why,
finish.
why we
Let me
think
finish.
this.
Let me finish, and then you can have your say as well. But so maybe you allow 2 each and only put 200 up for pre-sale, and the people that are allowed the pre-sale that aren't lucky enough to get part of that 200 still get a chance to buy like everyone else on the main release. I just think you need more than 50, or sounds like maybe even less if they were up for sale at the 40k open day. I just think that more than 50 need to be available for people that have never been before. You want people to go back each year and again and again and again. I get that, it's a nice atmosphere, but if it's that good and people are just going to want to go back every year, it's such a small percentage of people that have got the chance, and this is growing for people. This is, Calth and now Prospero, people are going to join and want to take part in Heresy. I've loved Heresy since the first books were out. I bought them right at that time. I might not have been playing Heresy as a game, but I'm not new to Heresy, so I'm not some sort of new upstart who's got a plastic army that suddenly wants to go to the weekend or spoiling it. So I just genuinely want to join in.
Oh, shots fired.
Yeah, but I've seen people say that online. I've seen people say that that's the people that are new and moaning about it, but we've been here since the beginning building this up, and I think that's a little bit, and that's my response to that really. It's sort of, it's you don't know why people haven't been before. It might have been
So
'cause they
your
tried
argument is
each
about
year.
fairness, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. And then from my most personal point of view is I'm gutted that I can't do the painting. I really want to take part in the demon. There's the Heresy Demon is only at the weekend. All the other demons are at 40k. Oh, sorry, at open days. I don't play AOS, so I won't be entering that one. You've got the main Warhammer Fest. That's going to be my only other chance, maybe 40k open day. But I feel that because of that demon there as well, that's what's really made me gutted, because I started work on something. So from a personal point of view, I started work on something that now I haven't got the motivation to finish because I don't get to go and do the painting side of things.
You know what you need to do? If it's purely about the painting, you need to choose an army like Chaos Demons, and then you can enter it at any of the events. You can do a Sigma 40k, 30k, and be fine.
Yeah,
we actually had people sneak into the last event. Honest to God, in the last February, Heresy Weekend, there were people that lived in Nottingham that were aware of it, that was going on at the Belfry. And it was such a clusterfuck in the morning when everybody arrived that they simply weren't able to check who had a ticket and who hadn't. And loads of people that weren't ticket holders were able to buy loads of the event exclusive stuff, leave, and then there was no stock for the people that were genuinely at the weekend.
And they wrote their name down on the mailing list so that this year they got 4 tickets each.
I genuinely don't want to offend anyone, and I'm not having to go at anyone that's got tickets. I would do the same thing, and if I could have bought 4 and I had 3 other friends that wanted to go,
well, you'd have bought me a ticket straight away. So
yeah, but we might have also, there's 3 of us on this podcast that have not been before, and I would have bought 4 and given it to someone else who hasn't been before. So I don't think by allowing 4 you're necessarily allowing 4 people that have been before first choice. You're allowing 1 person that's been before and 3 other people they pick.
See, I don't think it's even about the numbers. I don't think you can set an arbitrary number and somehow make everybody happy. If they'd set, I still think if they'd allowed people to buy 2, we would still be sat here going, for fuck's sake, they could have allowed them to have 1.
I think 2 is more a realistic amount.
Yeah,
but what do you mean by realistic? Like you're still talking fairness.
Yeah, we still
fair. Who's being fair to?
I like the idea of being able to pre-order a ticket for those that went last year. I think that is cool because they're trying to keep regulars going. There's that sort of...
Okay, so again, to cut in, you say that now. If all 450 people buy your own, your own statement earlier, if they had, and apparently they reduced it to 350 or whatever the attendance was this year, if all of them had bought a ticket, then you wouldn't even have had a chance to buy a ticket.
Well,
so
no,
surely now you would be turning around going, "Oh, it's an elite club, and it's not fair because I didn't even get a chance to buy a ticket."
Sorry, Sam. What are you trying to say?
I think that Forge World would have limited the amount of tickets they would have put on pre-sale. I don't think they would have been basically as stupid enough to sell out all their tickets in general pre-sale, having already told the general public that the Horse Heresy Weekend tickets were going up. Which was announced at the Shadow War, and then go, oh, sorry guys, they're all sold out already.
Sorry, Sam, just on that point, just quickly, at Shadow Wars, I'm sure it came out from Shadow Wars, it said they would go up for sale on the Saturday as well.
Yeah,
and
they did.
Actually went out from the Friday, which I thought was quite bad because I know we were looking for getting tickets and we weren't really ready on Friday morning because we thought they were coming out Saturday because that's the information given. So I mean that's probably just human error. That's probably just somebody typing the wrong date in. That's not allocating blame. But I mean, I think the general gist is that I don't think Forge World handled it right, did they? Not what they didn't get right may be debatable. I mean, I'm thoroughly, from what I heard from last year, it was well oversubscribed and it caused as many problems there.
It was absolutely awful.
Yeah. So that's the only problem this year. I mean, all of us know that's what the issue is. They haven't taken the decision to scale up their event and their logistics to handle the newer number of people, whether they under expected the amount of people that were going to want to come or not. They haven't scaled to meet demand. So we know that's the problem. But that aside, I think that people, like the whole fairness issue, and my wife pointed this out to me the other day because she was like, she was laughing at me arguing with Tim about like semantics around the definition of elitist and elitism. And we were talking about like a clique and like, the little club of people and all that kind of thing. But by its very definition, that's what it is. Like if the only people, if it carries on next year and all 350 tickets are offered to the same people and they sell out, nobody else can get access to it. We, as a cultural thing, as like British, English, whatever you want to say, we all seem to be on the same page. That our default position is we think that's unfair. But all of the Americans, for example, and by the looks of it, the Australians that we chat to, none of them see it like that. And they will turn around and say, well, we have sporting events and races and football events that do that year on year. Like Ryan, Mr. Kimmel was saying, there's multiple race events that he wants to go to or he knows of that you cannot get a ticket. You have to like wait for people to die. And then the next of kin get given an option first to go to see it. Like it's just, I think it's a cultural view of fairness. That
I think you're right. I think it is. I think because he was talking about I think NFL's a big one over there, isn't it? You just can't get tickets. Where over here, you for you non-UK people, if you football, heaven forbid, but if you're into football and you're a member, that only takes up 20% of the seats in a 60,000 seater stadium.
Yeah,
the rest of it a general release, and they would a football club would never make all of their seats member only because they know there'll be an uproar, because that's just the culture we have in
Exactly.
the UK about it. So yeah, I can understand that's why other people have different views. But again, Forge World is a UK company and GW is a UK company, so it's odd that they haven't got that. But what you were saying, Nick, about it doesn't matter that how many tickets you limit it to, because you're still going to sell out. I get that, but that's why I suggested that maybe not only do you limit the amount people can buy, but you limit the amount that go up for the pre-sale. Even if it's just reducing it to 200, that still doesn't mean that everyone in the pre-sale automatically gets it. It means they've got to be quick as well, but then they get another go. So at least they get 2 goes at the cherry, and just gives them a few more people the chance.
To the pro members sort of thing.
Okay,
I wouldn't strip it
of
away.
this
Example
situation
completely
is the Glastonbury Festival tickets. So they go up on pre-release. You're not actually told what the acts are, but they go up on pre-release. You pre-register. Those that have pre-registered get the opportunity to buy the tickets before they go on general sale. Most of the time, those tickets are completely sold out. However,
it's not the same though, because it's not limited to people who have been like the year before. So I've been to Glastonbury and I don't get in the front of the queue compared to people who haven't. This situation is very niche in that sense. Like, it's not member based. If it was subscription, and it'd be more like a season ticket, because everybody would then say, well, they paid money to be in part of a club and they're going to get access to the pre-release. It's purely limited to the people that have already been, and it's like a really elite sort of club thing. So
cool. All right, guys. Yeah, there's definitely an issue around. I think the main point is yes, it's a cultural thing, but I think our opinion, it would have been nice to have an equal opportunity to hit it. So I think that kind of wraps that up nicely. So I'm going to draw a line under it before we really bought shit out of everyone. So
quick note for you 3 guys. If you do want a ticket, I've got 3 up on eBay for you.
You'll do a special rate
no,
of 450 each.
I'm joking. I
I'll do mine for £5 cheaper than each of his.
Cool. So let's draw a line under that, and let's cool. We'll go to a break. So we'll catch up with you guys in a minute.
g52 is sponsored by Incom Gaming, the new centre for tabletop wargaming in Gloucestershire. Visit incomgaming.co.uk for great savings on pre-orders and all your hobby needs. We stock many gaming systems and hobby accessories and can ship to anywhere in the UK. Incom Gaming is the only UK stockists of the market-leading gaming mats from gamemats.eu. Visit the store and check out how to turn your tabletop into a battlefield. Incom Gaming is based in the centre of Cheltenham and offers tables and scenery for casual and organised play with a fully licensed bar. Check out our events page for upcoming events where everyone is welcome. Save an additional 10% on Games Workshop Heresy products by using the code GINO52 at the checkout. Visit incomgaming.co.uk and help fight the betrayal. Incom Gaming. Come game, shop, drink. To shop elsewhere is heresy.
Hi guys, welcome back. We're still going strong. I'm running out of beer, but apart from that, it's all going well. So we're going to roll into some talk of Shadow Wars. So Shadow Wars, a big event held up at Warhammer World. At the time of recording, it was last week. So what were we looking at? We were looking at first weekend in November, wasn't it, Sam?
Yeah, it was. I think that's right.
Yeah, because it was the 5th and 6th. It was the same day we ran our Tarsis event. So we were down in Cheltenham playing in a pub, and I think you were up in Warhammer World playing on their beautiful, sexy table. So give us a bit of an overview of what Shadow Wars was then.
Yeah, so the event was basically an opportunity for people to create sort of narrative-driven army lists of forces that were present during the Shadow Wars. So, in my mind, when that springs up, I think of sort of small-ish skirmishy armies with, very few Lords of War, no Primarchs, sort of cool, homemade, custom-made characters, battling out, basically, trying to basically win over certain worlds in, for the War Master, for the Emperor, whichever side you fight for.
Yeah, so how was it structured? I mean, I'm guessing from the Shadow Wars name, it was in Book 6. There's a Shadow Wars campaign, isn't there, in the latest Black Book?
Yeah, so there's a set number of missions within Book 6 that we used at the event, of which, before every game, basically, you and your opponent roll off on what is called the Shadow War table. And in that, basically, you roll 2d6, you add those results together, and then that determines, basically, who gets to decide who is the attacker and the defender. But there were various different things that would influence that. So, for example, if you had a super heavy tank, you would get -2 to your roll, and that was cumulative with everything else in your army. Certain legions are obviously a bit sneakier and a bit better at sort of catching other armies off guard. So, for example, the Alpha Legion, they had +2 to their rolls. And there was things like this, basically. What was quite cool about the event was that you could structure your army list around this table that is present in Book 6.
So what does the table? What do the rolls give you then? Because obviously you get plus or minuses. What sort of things that affect the actual game itself?
Not as such, no. I mean, the missions are very sort of attacker-defender orientated. So there's one mission, aptly named, called Ambush, where one person deploys their entire force in the centre of the table, and then the attacking force deploys their stuff on basically surrounding them. So when you roll off for the Shadow War roll-off at the beginning of your game, that basically determines who is the attacker, who is the defender. So if you've got a very sort of defensive army list, obviously, if you win the Shadow War roll-off, you're going to go, well, I'll be defender for this particular scenario. Gave people the freedom to choose and build up a pretty cool narrative in each of their games.
That's cool, yeah. So you played 5 missions over 2 days?
Yeah, it was 5 missions in total, all pre-selected prior to the event. They were actually in the event pack, which I think you can still find online. Actually, it's a great format for anybody that is looking to run an event of their own. The mission was predetermined. The deployment was predetermined as well. So people were pretty sort of clued up as to what they were going to be doing and how they were going to be playing. But overall, the missions were pretty fun, to be fair.
That's cool. Awesome. So do you want to run us through your missions then?
Yeah, absolutely. So for that event, I took my Sons of Horus. And for the first mission, if I remember rightly, it was... I can't for the life of me remember what any of the mission names were. There was a few games that I had sort of over the weekend. Like the first one was a massive battle against an Iron Hands army that was just an absolute beast of a gun line, and which absolutely just sort of blew me off the table within a space of a few turns. But it was good fun. It was a very, very pretty army to play against.
Sorry, Sam, I should have probably asked, give me some context. Well, what had you taken with you? I know you said Sons of Horus, but what was your army?
So my army was a few veteran tactical squads in rhinos. I took 3 of those in total. Bare bones, nothing too snazzy, heavy weapon or special weapon wise for those. I took a Baden. I thought I'd take the gamble and use him. He's not often a character. He's not a character that's often used because he's not not that great in the rules really. Some people would say. I gave him a bodyguard of 5 Justarian Terminators.
Nice.
And then I gave them a Storm Eagle as their transport.
Very nice. I'm a big fan of the Storm Eagle.
Yeah, for those of you who have seen my army, it's all in theme. So I thought, well, might as well keep to that. So yeah, put those in the Storm Eagle. What else did I take? I took a unit of 3 Quartus Contemptors because I really, really rate them. I think the model is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
A Leviathan to go with them as well. What else
4
did I
Dreadnoughts.
take? Yeah, 4 Dreadnoughts. What else did I take? I think. A Lightning Strike Fighter as well.
Yeah, because why not?
Yeah.
It sounds like a really fluffy, balanced fun list.
Yeah, it was. It was a really, really fun, balanced list. I mean,
it's a Baden and his first company, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's veterans everywhere. That's my argument. Abaddon might be running an errand for Horus in the Shadow, and
it makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah, he's been sent off to do a mission. He's taken his first company to go off and achieve X goal, and go and raid this planet,
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he's got out from behind his boyfriend's, his daddy's skirt and gone to run off to do his own thing for a bit.
Yeah, exactly. So that was basically my thought with the Force. And the first game was against Iron Hands. I got absolutely had. There was a cool moment in the game actually where my Leviathan Dreadnought basically charged through an entire building, caught the Iron Hands player with his pants down because he didn't think that the Leviathan would be able to make the charge, and it was a massive unit of Iron Hands bikers with his Praetor in it. Anyway, the Leviathan managed to make the charge, get into combat, killed the entire retinue of bikers that were with him, only for the Praetor to swing back with his Power Fist and take 3 whole points off the Leviathan in one whack. So I was kind of surprised by that too. But it was, great game all in all. Got absolutely smashed apart, but good fun, really, really good fun. I'll run through these but briefly. Second game was against a Space Wolf player, which was quite nice actually, considering recent releases. I was quite surprised to see a Space Wolf army done so quickly. Again, a really nice force. He had a load of Cataphractii Terminators in Land Raiders. So a very sort of small elite force, but very tough.
Yeah.
That game was more sort of objective based, so he struggled in that regard. But we had good fun. Abaddon managed to take the head of the Space Wolf Praetor, which went down well for me. I was expecting to get him killed like he always does. A victory for the Sons of Horus.
Nice.
Game 3 then was against a lovely Salamander army. Again, I've forgotten the name of the guy. He's also an MK member. I'm so sorry. But
what were you giving? You were giving Matt Kane some stick for forgetting your surname at the start of the show. So
it's probably Tom, wasn't it? I think there was lots of Tom.
Yeah, it might be. I mean, I'm good friends with Matt, so for that to happen is
well, considering Matt considered he had a full-blown conversation with me when I was there, because apparently I was there when I was actually running an event. 150 miles away.
Yeah.
I think Matt might have been. I don't know. He might have been on the booze or something. I don't know. He sniffed too much super glue or thinners.
Something like that. That game was really, really good. At that occasion, I went up against what was quite intimidating was your typical Vulcan loadout. Him bunkered in some fire drakes. No, what are the Terminators called? The Salamander ones.
Fire drakes.
Yeah, they are fire drakes. Yeah. Bunkered in some fire drakes in a Spartan. So I thought, here we go. Primarch against first captain. That's not really going to go down well.
Yeah.
I can't remember the objectives in this game. To be honest, for most of the event, I just wanted to run around killing everything. I wasn't
pretty
really
much what I do in
yeah.
every mission.
Yeah.
It's like I play 3 turns and go, shit, what was the objective?
Yeah,
I better try and do that.
Yeah, I wasn't focused on winning any of the games at all. I was more there for just smashing and breaking shit, basically. But anyway, Vulcan managed to get into combat with Abaddon. And Abaddon managed to kill Vulcan in hand-to-hand combat. Which sent me screaming, because I really didn't think that was going to happen. Abaddon managed to get sort of 3 or 4 attacks off with his Power Fist, by which time Vulcan had already been whittled down to sort of half wounds by the Justaerin. And the Phaedrix had died by this point. Obviously, the Spartan had blown up, basically. But yeah, Abaddon rolled for his attacks. Vulcan rolled to try and save himself with his invulnerable save, and failed all 3 in one swoop. Yeah, so that was a hell of a surprise. Awesome for me, because I really don't rate Abaddon that much at all. So for something like that to happen, set me right off.
He's not a monster in combat, compared to he's not a Sigismund, is he?
No, absolutely not.
Awesome.
So that was a great highlight to that game. Probably one of the best highlights of the weekend.
Is totally running around with his ego unchecked now.
Oh yeah, too right. By this point, he's proper fucking, on a rampage. Then after that, it was sort of those were my 3 games for the first day, on the Saturday, and then the Sunday. Then I went up against Mr. Wardle's Ultramarines.
With his did he bring his 2 Typhons and 12 quad mortars in the end?
No, thankfully. But I think he probably did consider it.
What was the T-shirt he had that was kicking around? The whack or get the fuck out.
Yeah, He was adamant that he was going to bring that as well, but thankfully he didn't. Obviously, by this point, there was sort of word going around that my Abaddon was sort of just going around taking the heads of various different sort of named
Primarchs, characters.
Yeah, named Primarchs, characters, whatever at the event. So people were like, right, if we draw you up for games and stuff, I'm going to be the person to try and kill Abaddon. Yeah. But me and Andy sort of bent the rules a little bit and thought, you know what, we're going to actually up the game limit. So we upped our points to 3.5k. Just so that we could fit our Primarchs in, because his Guilliman is absolutely stunning. And, I wanted to use my Horus. So we just whacked on our Primarchs. He took a few more upgrades. And we went at each other with 3.5k. Again, totally throwing the mission out of the window. And basically our end goal was to get both of our Primarchs into combat and beat the living shit out of each other, which is exactly what happened. So brief description. Guilliman was in a Spartan with 10 Cataphractii Terminators, which was then guarded by 10 Suzerain and a Chaplain and an Apothecary. So Horus had a lot to chew through to try and get to Guilliman in the first place.
Yeah.
But as the game progressed, he certainly did do that. He hopped out with Storm Eagle with Abaddon and the Justaerin and slowly cut their way through the Suzerain, before finally getting into combat with Guilliman and his bodyguard unit, and then sort of slugging it out in a challenge. Yeah. That went on for the most of the game. I think by the time the game finished, they were still battling it out, but we thought, for the sake of the fight, we'll carry it on. Yeah. So we carried on, and in the end, it bottled down to Horus winning, but by only 1 wound. Guilliman's ability to be able to sort of gain a weapon skill every turn as he sort of learns his opponent's sort of moves in close combat is horrible when you take into account Horus's claw.
I've taken Guilliman up to weapon skill 10 very quickly with some people. I mean, interestingly, I was talking to Sean from the Siege Initiative podcast, and he and a guy he knew did some very deep, very heavy maths on Primarch. Now, they looked at it totally in a vacuum, 1 Primarch against 1 Primarch, no bodyguard and stuff. And he actually said to me, in the majority of cases, Guilliman will take anybody bar Horus. So it's very interesting to see how close that ran, and that kind of played out on the field then, Horus got there in the end, but Guilliman definitely...
I think Guilliman's like 3rd, I think.
Guilliman will kill Horus if you don't use Horus's claw against him.
Yeah.
You've got to, because my friend who I game with in my local gaming club, he has an Ultramarine army, and we've had Horus and Guilliman slug it out quite a lot. And we found that, if a Horus doesn't constantly try to keep Guilliman at weapon skill 8 by sort of wounding him with the claw and sapping his strength, Guilliman will eventually sort of become a higher weapon skill with him, subsequently get more hits, and then obviously start laying it into Horus quite quickly.
The weight of numbers starts to add up then.
Absolutely. The other thing about Guilliman that is so annoying is the fact that, despite the fact that Horus's claw obviously then takes away the -1 strength on the Primarch, Guilliman doesn't give a shit, because his fist is just flat strength 10. Yeah. And it's concussive.
And his sword is +1 strength, so you're only he's always going to be one better than he should be.
Yeah.
So he's either hitting it. I found when I've used him in combat, if I'm not hitting first, so I'm not at high initiative, well, I just take the hits and I'll hit you with a strength 10 power fist. Because the ability to reroll one failed invulnerable as well, 3 up invulnerable. Oh, I might need to make 2 of those on your attacks. Well, I've rolled a 3 and a 2. Oh, fuck it, I can re-roll the 2.
Yeah.
Once he's in one-on-one combat, that really tells, because you can just keep thinking those extra saves off. So
Horus's claw removes that +1 strength as well, doesn't it? Or rather, it
counteracts it.
Yeah, it would counteract, but it's kind of like it would make less of an impact, because the sword is +1. But you're losing one, so you're kind of not losing the strength as quickly. But then you just go, well, fuck it, use the strength 10 power fist, because it's strength 10 no matter what.
Yeah,
that's cool. So Guilliman, so Horus and Guilliman slugged it out, and then where did you go from there?
So again, Abaddon managed to survive that game. Basically, whilst Horus was slugging it out with Guilliman, Abaddon and his Justarian managed to. I think it was just him by himself, managed to sort of chew through the rest of the Cataphracti, kill them off, and the Apothecary.
Nice.
And basically then just sort of stood watching Horus show Guilliman how show Abaddon how it's done. Yeah, basically fangirl with some pom-poms in the background, touched himself as Horus was bending Guilliman over his knee. But anyway, after that then, our Matt basically wanted a game.
Yeah.
And so I happily obliged. Me and Matt were sort of chatting about how Abaddon had yet to be killed. He listed off the numerous things that he'd sort of chewed through all weekend, and Matt was like, well, you know what, I'm going to be the person to try and take this bastard down, because obviously he needs knocking down a peg or two, and we can't have Abaddon getting too big for his boots. So basically, that was what Matt's goal was going to be. And lo and behold, the actual mission type for the game was to kill each other's HQs.
Yeah.
That suited us perfectly. Matt had taken quite a horrible Ultramarine defensive, sat in a bunker with lots of Volkites and an ammo dump sort of army list. And basically just let me run at him, which was fine for me. I just sent everything hurling towards this bunker. Which Matt has got some great photos of, and I'll ask to get off him to post up in the group.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
He's done all sorts of special effects on them as well.
He was saying about your Leviathan striding through the corpses of your 3 contemptors with smoke and shit everywhere, looking badass.
I wanted to ask about that actually. Yeah, I remember I heard Matt. It was on the Eye of Horus. Yeah, he was on the Eye of Horus interview, wasn't he? Talking about it. With bunkers and fortifications and things, is that something that's common in your sort of meta, Sam, or is that something you see at events? People taking those?
Yeah, it's not the first event that I've been to where somebody, an Ultramarine player especially, has gone and taken a bunker, an ammo dump, and then sort of lots of Volkites. I think one of the good things to do with them is to use their rule that, I've shot you once with something, now I'm going to shoot you with something else, and suddenly everything, I can reroll ones or something like that.
Reroll ones to wound.
Yeah.
So you're hitting on, generally you're pumping BS4, BS5 Volkites into it, then you're generally wounding on 2s or 3s, re-rolling 1s, just to spam some more fucking wounds. And then of course with Volkite you get your exploding wounds off the side of that as well, don't you? So the more wounds you put on, the more they fail, the more damage you do. So, yeah, that is. I can see why Mr. Kane. We all know him for the power gamer he is. No matter what he says, super power
Oh,
gamer.
we love your hate for that.
No, but to be fair to Matt, I mean, his Ultramarines list, he got a story behind it. I mean, if you listen to Horus, he's got his Praetors named. He's got a really cool army. But it just goes, just because
he said he was really complaining on the Horus. He was saying about he said he was getting pretty angsty at first, and then he almost like had to force himself to calm down a bit about people bringing like tournament sort of lists, and he was just like refusing to play people if he got drawn against them or something.
No, I think it was more the fact. I mean, he really bought into the Shadow Wars narrative of they shouldn't really this is skirmish.
Yeah. Like he's saying like I came here to play the sneaky elite missions off in within the theme of the Shadow Wars, and those people turning up with like Titans and shit, and he was just like,
it was more kind of like I think you said, Sam, you were very much of not Lords of War, not Primarchs. This is supposed to be sort of splinter missions and things. So I think that's what Matt would. But I think he said on the IRS, and he said maybe that was a bit of him thinking his way, and he shouldn't if other people want to do their hobby a different way, that's their hobby. But
fuck that. Hold your ground, man. Like opinions are there. Fucking keep them. I totally agree with what he was saying to that extent. Like if you setting up the whole theme of the event and then people turn like, if people if it was one of your events, Tom, and you'd set up a Shadow Wars and then people submitted like a fucking warlord, you would have told them to fuck off. Sure.
Thing is, it depends, because if I wanted to create, I'm looking at running some campaign missions for the continuation of Tarsis. And I'm going to say, in these missions, there are no Lords of War, there are no Primarchs and no named characters, because that's what I want to create. I'm creating skirmishes around the campaign. So if that's what you want from the event, put it in the event pack. If Forge World had said, or Games Workshop had said, in the event pack, we're doing Shadow Wars, this is the theme we want to create, this is the rule, we don't want to see Primarchs, we don't want to see X, Y, and Z models, build your army around that. I think that's a fair comment, that's the theme. If you're just saying bring an army, I totally get what Matt says, and I actually agree Shadow Wars is kind of set up that way. If the event pack doesn't support that, you've got to expect somebody to turn up, with a warlord. I'm going to take Leviathan Force Organ and turn up with a warlord. Me and you, Nick, we're going to Escalation, aren't we, in April, and they've said they can bring everything, and I'm fully expecting to see somebody with a Titan mana pool, because they can bring Leviathan, so why can't they bring Titans? So
yeah, that's
my
fine.
issue is
but
with
the
the event.
theme of that event didn't. Sorry, Sam.
Go on.
I was just gonna say that the theme of the event, like, if it doesn't suit Titans, then I don't think it would suit Titans. That's all I was saying.
I totally agree that I don't think it was the right the right kind of event for Titans and stuff. But the rules pack should have supported what they were trying to do thematically. Support. Support. If you want people to bring in a certain type of army, tell them. This is what we want. Bring these and these, don't bring these and these models, such and such. So I'm totally in agreement. I think the Shadow Wars should be about, maybe, name characters, not so much, maybe exclude Primarchs and some, but where do you draw the line? Do you say no Lords of War, so you can't bring your suborbital Strike Wing? It gets a bit murky somewhere, but I think, it could have been done.
There was a lot of chatter online before the actual event about what people were going to take, and there was a lot of chatter about people taking, like, there was 3 people that were claiming to be taking Warlord Titans and things like that. So that really sort of set the mood for the event, especially for me, because at one point, I was sort of reading these lists online, being somebody that plays purely for like the visual aspect for it and then the narrative and things like that. It was really it put me on a bit of a downer, really, because at one point I really didn't want to go to the event because for those reasons. Yeah. And I think the events team actually picked up that sort of sense of feeling in their event, and sort of tried to play it down a bit, just to sort of tell people, like, look, this is a narrative event.
Chill out.
You're there to go fun. Yeah, you're there to have fun. Chill out a bit. Just go there to enjoy it. And thankfully, I think that message was taken on board, and there wasn't as many dickheads as there was going to be in the first place.
See, I like what the Horus boys did at their event. People people came with, they basically kind of gave it a free for all, and somebody did turn up with a Warlord Titan, so they were looking for a game for it, and some guy went, and they went, look, if you take him on, you'll get 10 victory points for your side just for playing him. Yeah, points for play. So kind of, they dealt with it on a very play-by-play basis. But I think me and you, Stu, have had this discussion about the way the Australian scene is much more developed into this narrative structure. I mean, Tim and Michael were talking at the next event. They're not even going to have rounds. You'll just turn up for a weekend and play as many games as you want over the weekend. I think we're maybe not at that point in this country. We're very used to a structured kind of event, where we have rounds, because we're still in that tournament mindset. I think maybe, bring your Warlord, great, if it's the right event and if there's methods to make sure that it doesn't spoil somebody's weekend. Because I think, same as you, Sam, if I brought my army, I built my list and I've done this and I get drawn against the Warlord Titan and I go, great, well, this is 4 turns of me just seeing if I can survive rather than actually engaging in the game. I don't think I'd enjoy that. So, I mean, I think there's ways and means to deal with it, but I'm glad you said, like you said, the events team picked up on it and dealt with it, in a positive way.
My only issue with the event was, as I said earlier, like the reason I do it is because I like the visual aspect of it, with people's armies on the tables. But there were armies there that were literally, I shit you not, must have been built the day before and sprayed with one colour and then just put on the table on, with some sand on the bases. And now, this may come across to some hobbyists as being really elitist, but for somebody like me that has spent sort of a good couple of years painting my army to the standard that it is, to attend these events and play people, just play other like-minded people that have done a similar sort of thing. I mean, you don't have to have spent years on your army, but you've taken clear sort of pride and you've put the effort into your force.
You've done the best.
It looks good on the table. Yeah, it looks good on the table.
It really surprises me actually that people would do that for a Warhammer World event. I just sort of kind of assumed that the standard was the culture of standard of fully painted armies was pretty high there.
It's this definition of what is painted, because I remember I looked at an event the other year and it's it said in the event pack the army must be painted and based. What is painted and based? Obviously people like me and Sam and Stu, we paint to a high level, and I know for a fact I sort of subscribe to the Matt Cain philosophy. I won't put models on the table unless they're painted to the best of my ability, and I've actually hamstrung myself at 40k tournaments beforehand. Yeah, we're not talking about the Spartan that was sold, but
you nearly wasn't sold though, because you nearly forgot that, didn't you?
Yeah, but I mean,
you've seen the skull, the Throne of Skulls shit. Like half of them turn up with like 4 Titans. The rest turn up with all D weapon Eldar, and then the remainder aren't painted, and some of them don't even have bases, and some of them are made out of fucking Lego. Like, I think the issue is that some of that starts to seep in.
It's really difficult for GW, isn't it?
There are more people play 30k, and some of those people happen to be the people that are like that in 40k, and they don't know any better. So if everyone's pussyfooting around and going, no, it's fine, let him play his hobby his way, let him do this, whatever, and then we're all bitching about them, but not necessarily calling them out.
Well,
there's a balance between the two, and somebody has to manage that. And I think as an event organizer, you can do that offline, and you can kind of stipulate in the rules about clear levels of painted, as Tom was saying. But you can also make it clear, like, don't be a fucking idiot and turn up with a Warlord. Like,
the event was really good. I mean, the level of hobby there was absolutely astounding from the majority of people, but obviously there were the armies like the ones I've just described. And for me, I think it's really a bit of a fucking slap in the face for people like us that attend the events that have put the effort in, for them not to bloody enforce the rules they're writing in the event pack. If your army is not painted to a suitable standard, I'm sorry, mate, you're not fucking playing.
I think it's difficult for GW, isn't it? As the retailer and the seller of these products to kind of, people could very easily play the, well, I bought your shit, it is painted, it might be crap, but I bought your shit, I'm trying to bring it here to play at your event.
I still draw, there's a clear difference between something that is painted to a lower standard and something that has been literally just fucking sprayed up for the event.
I've had this conversation with people about, we mentioned it before, Alex in our gaming group, he's new to not just new to 30k, new to gaming. I mean, he picked up, never played a tabletop game until about a year ago, and started playing some 40k, and he bought all pre-painted models off eBay to get an army together, which is fine. That's cool. That's how he did it. He's played some X-Wing, which is obviously all pre-painted models, and has come into Heresy. Now he is making a real effort to paint his stuff, and he is not at, and he probably he will know we're not mean this in a derogatory. He's not at the same standard as people like me and Stu. He just hasn't been painting that long. But for our Tarsis event, he made a real effort to get everything painted to the best of his ability. He's been learning to airbrush. He's been taking advice on from us. He's been trying new things. He put 2.5K's worth of painted models on the table. That's cool. I'd rather play 2.5K's worth of painted models to his standard than play 2.5K's worth of, or play an army where one unit is fully painted to Golden Demon standard and the rest is undercoated.
Yeah,
I'd rather, it's about the immersion, isn't it? We want to play. One of the reasons I dropped out of 40K is I got fed up of putting my army, which I would enforce my rule of I don't play it unless it's painted, against a grey plastic army and go, well, why have I bothered to paint mine?
Oh, I agree. I think it should be enforced. My views on, I would have gone fully painted for the event we've just done. But we kind of left it as a you should do, but we weren't going to kick anyone out who didn't. Not this time around. I think next time it will be. But I think it's difficult for GW purely from a retailer's point of view. I'm not excusing the people that haven't done it. I think it just makes it really awkward for them to turn around, because people are arseholes, aren't they? They'll turn around, well, I've done it. It was the best of my ability, and it puts them in an impossible situation. Whereas if it's a third party, event, it's very easy for you to say, well,
it's that judgment call of what is painted. What is painted to the best of your ability, and what is you haven't made an effort. There's a fine line. There's a subjective definition there that could cause arguments. But like Sam, I'm entirely agreeing with you. If they said in the rules pack it needs to be fully painted and based,
then it should be.
And
absolutely.
Then they should have enforced what they can do, because on the same hand, I turn it. You say, it's a 3,000 point event. Well, I've turned up with 4,500 points, and I'm going to play it because you're not enforcing that rule. Why are you enforcing the points rule? The
exactly.
It kind of lets it's subject to abuse. But I also agree, Stu. I think there is, a certain, you're a retailer trying to sell stuff, and a business case to say we don't want to put people off. But it's, there needs to be a line trade, because, you're discouraging people like you, Sam, who have put the time and effort in to do what they want. Horus event I'm going to in January, I'm pretty sure it all says it all needs to be painted. Well, I'm damn sure going to make sure everything I turn up with is painted.
Well, if somebody's paying for a ticket for an event, they expect to play up against armies that are fully painted and based. If you want to play against an army that is in progress, go to your local gaming club or your local Games Workshop, or wherever else it is that you play games. I just don't see how it's not something that is more thoroughly enforced.
I think that's also more strongly in the 30K community, because it's much more of a community of hobby than maybe 40K. There is more of a kind of competitive army scene, and actually you have to keep buying models and keep up with the power creep there, and it's maybe not always possible to fully paint. But Heresy is a much more
laid back
based, laid back and hobby based. And actually, my army list that I'm building now probably is the same army list I could have built 12 months ago. There's nothing really that new in my list, so I don't need to constantly strive to have the newest and greatest models, so I don't always have a backlog of painting, so I can put the time and effort in. And I think the same for people. We expect in the Heresy, not that everybody is a Golden Demon standing painter, but everybody has put the effort in to, because it's all about the narrative and the immersion, isn't it? We're trying to tell stories.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's about.
And emerge, and having a painted army and sitting there and looking like, especially at Warhammer, where you've got those awesome tables. I think Matt said it on the Horus. He wants to be able to run around and take cool looking pictures of everything. And that's what we want. We want the memories and the stories of, I played this amazing looking game. It looked stunning on the table. There were stunning models. It was all fully painted. It looked fucking wicked. Because I know, we made an effort at the Tarsis event to make sure all the tables had a map that themed to the scenery, and the scenery was set up to tell the story of the table, and it was all kind of there because that's what we wanted.
Yeah, exactly. How you resolve these issues, isn't it? How do you go about doing it? Fine. How do you go about doing it in a way that isn't A, going to upset somebody, and B, be fair to the other people at the event?
Yeah. Again, I think this maybe comes down to the point we made earlier about this cultural idea of fairness that we have, because I know Tim and Michael had absolutely no qualms about going, if it ain't fully painted, you ain't playing at their event in Australia. And they were brutal about it. They literally said, if it ain't painted, you ain't fucking playing. And I imagine if I'd have turned up with plastic models and painted, they'd have gone, fuck off. We don't.
So that's, I mean, that's just being an adult and taking a stance. If you're going to be so unhappy about it, whether that's the painting standard or whether that's
if you're going to take it like a bitch, go play 40k.
Well, I think it's just be an adult. People are so pussyfooting around and worried about insulting people, or there's a socially awkward aspect to the nerdy sort of people that play this game, and we all have our own issues, and you just need to be straight up and just deal with people, and accept that there are going to be problems. You're never going to be able to make everybody happy, but if you want to game with those particular people, you shape your tournament and your rules and the way you handle it appropriately, and that's what, like you said, that's what they've done in the Oz events.
I mean, I'm quite keen on my events next year. Will probably come to the point where it'll say, if it ain't fully painted, it'll count as dead, and you can put your army on the table. But if you've got 3 units that aren't painted, I'll put them back in your box, and you're going to have to play every game without those 3 units. So touch it. That's it. And I had some flack from people when I started mentioning that for my event, going, oh, I said, well, it's my event. I'm putting it on. This is what I'm going to do. And for some people, they'll go, fucking brilliant. For some people, they'll go, that's harsh. Well, you vote with your feet. Don't come to my events if you don't like it. But I know there'll be a section of people, if I'm sure, Sam, if I said that was the case for yours, it would probably encourage you to come, because you go, well, I'm not going to come up against the unpainted stuff.
Yeah.
So
interestingly, I think with 30k, the thing is with 30k, you can take quite a strong list, but if it is visually appealing, I think it's not harder to swallow, but it's just a nicer game anyway. You don't instantly think, oh great, I'm going up against a really gamey person. I'm going to really fucking hate this game. Like the Iron Hands guy that I went against, a friend Matt Marlowe. He had a really, really strong list. He had a Fell Blade and a Storm Blade in his army. He wasn't taking it to be really gamey. He was taking it because he literally painted all the cool stuff that he wanted to do in his Iron Hands army. It was really, really horrible to go against for me because I just got blasted off the table. But because his army was so visually nice, it didn't bother me. Whereas if I'd gone up against somebody like that had literally just sort of done an Iron Hands army, sprayed it black, made a pretty poor effort to sort of lead belter out some areas, and then that was it, I would have been pretty pissed, to be fair.
That's the Emperor's Children mantra, basically. As long as my hair looked good while I rape you, then it's okay.
Yeah. Just shout surprise first.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's about, the heresy community is about everything. I'm just going to gloss over that. I'm just going to
edit that one out.
Oh, no, nothing gets edited. You're going on record, but we just gloss over it. Yeah, I mean, the heresy community is so much more about the hobby and everything else, and making that effort. And that's what, I spend. I mean, Nick, you think I don't actually do anything other than paint. I'm pretty sure you think I just paint. But I put the time in.
I believe your wife is either a Russian or Chinese, slave, financial bride, whatever you call it, because I don't even. You might not even work. You might just pretend that you work, because all you ever seem to do is just paint. And these models just appear.
I'm putting my time and effort into painting my army. I'm committing myself to doing it. Why should I put that effort in for somebody and to play a game against somebody else who doesn't want to? And it's not being elitist. It's not saying you must go on X, Y, and Z painting course and you must be able to airbrush and blend and do non-metallic metals and do this and do that. Otherwise, I think you're shit. It's just, have you tried to put as much effort as you can into your army to make it as cool as you possibly can? Yes or no? And if you have, yes, great, I'm going to play you. I mean, we had at Tarsis, we had very varying levels in terms of skill. I mean, we had, stuff from MKA painters through to, like I said, people like Alex who are really only getting really their teeth into painting. But what was cool is there were all fully painted armies on cool looking tables, and it just made, we took pictures of every table, and it just
there was guys cool. Like me with my beautiful fists.
Yeah, your commission painted fist.
The super secret project.
my okay tabletop painted fists, but possible. Didn't win best painted, but there we go. But no, I mean, I think there's a real issue there if you're trying to compare the two contrast the two events. But obviously, Forge World have, and even in their stores, not necessarily just at events they have at Warhammer World, but they've got a real issue to manage there because they don't want to turn customers away. They don't want to lose business. They don't want to anger the community. So they've got a real issue to manage how they interact with the customer and the fine line between pissing people off by saying you haven't painted your army, therefore you're not allowed in, sort of thing, and then keeping the elitist resin, well-painted Golden Demon winning 30k players.
The resin master race.
Happy, yeah. So you got, imagine how hard it is trying to keep those two happy is.
Yeah.
I think it's impossible personally, but it's a really hard task. And then our local club, you've got a load of guys who, a lot of people who aren't quite into it as much. Like they may be there more for the gaming or killing the community, and a lot of what you doing your paintbrushing tutorials and Stu putting out his pictures of awesome painted models and us talking shit on the podcast, I think is encouraging people to explore more of the hobby side. But some people are just never going to be into that, and it's really hard to bring everybody along and keep everyone happy.
That's a fair assessment.
I don't think 30k appeals to those kind of people because it's not a competitive game set. It's not if you're there to play a really balanced.
Some of them are coming along. They're just not necessarily.
It does, Tom. It does. It appeals to people that like, people that like the visuals might not be able to do it themselves. That's why I've. My biggest commission I've done recently was for someone who played at Tarsis. It was a whole, it was 2,000.
Oh yeah, no, sorry.
So there's people that are really like that, but he realised he wasn't going to do it himself and pay for someone else. But not everyone else can afford to do that either.
Sorry. I think my point may be a little bit off there. It's not. Sorry, it's more of a case of. I think if you're of the mindset of you don't really give a fuck about the paint and you just want to play competitively, 30k's not for you.
Oh yeah, they probably won't be playing.
How you get your? I think like Kurt, who you painted his Raven Guard for, he wanted a painted army. He wanted to have the visual impact. He wanted it to look good. He understood he didn't either have the time or the patience or the skill to do it himself, but he found a way of doing it. If you know what I mean, he looked and went, well, I'm going to make the commitment to getting it painted. He still bought into. He still themed his army. He's built his army around his theme.
Yeah.
He's created the way his army. He just took a step and went, well, I'm going to pay for somebody to paint it. He still bought into that aesthetic of what he wanted it to do. But that's what I meant is it's not it's so much the people who don't give a cack about the painting at all. They literally just get a rule book, find the most kick-ass list they can in it, and just buy the models and put them on the table. And it's not about the immersion; it's about the competitiveness of the game. I don't think Heresy is the right scene for them. I think Heresy appeals to more the people who want to build a story and a narrative, and like how you achieve that, how you get to the end result of having your army and painted and you've got a story to tell. It's up to you if you want to paint it, if you want to learn to paint, if you want to paint it to your standard, if you want to pay somebody to paint it. Pay Stu to do more painting, because if he doesn't do more painting, he'll have to go back to work and we won't have people to edit our show. So if you like the podcast to continue to its excellent quality, send all your commissions to Stu so he can he doesn't have to go back to work properly again.
Keep the wife happy.
I think everyone agrees with that. There is genuine concern though, and I've seen it myself. It could be, my jaded opinion, but I have seen that genuine concern across different forums, not just elitists, across Facebook, across different media. People genuinely feel like there's a newer migration of 40k players, and not all of them are.
Can I just make a point?
Getting the message, as it were.
Yeah, go for it, Sam.
Can I just make a point for anybody that is listening that is like, you've recently bought yourself a Prospero set or a Calth set or something like that, and you may not be, 100% confident with your painting. Please don't feel from the things that we've just said that you will go up, against somebody that will tell you that your army's not painted good enough and they won't play you because they feel that you've not made a big enough effort within your force. That's honestly not the point we're trying to make here. don't let that put you off from the 30k community itself.
Absolutely, well, it's not what we're trying to say at all.
Yeah,
No, that's not what we're trying to say.
It's not an elitist. If you, like I said, we don't want you to be golden demons. We just want people to embrace what 30k is about, which is a story and an immersion and a hobby. Like I said, I mean, I keep mentioning Alex, and he's probably going to explode one day, but he has made a real effort to get into the 30k theme. That I want to build an army. Here's the story about my army. I'm going to push myself to paint it the best as I can. Like I said, if you turn up to a local game club and say, look, I'm just getting on my way. I've got a Calth and a Prospero. I've built them. I've started to paint them. I'd like a game. Like, yeah, cool. No problems. Great. Fantastic. We'll play with your models until they're painted. It's only my personal opinion that the thing I do to say, I'm not going to use them till I've painted them, but that's more my way of stopping me buying loads of shit.
It's a good way to motivate you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of like, well, I can't put my new cool unit on the table till I've painted it, so that makes me paint it. It's not.
And people, so with Alex's example as well, is a really, really great example of how people learn differently and are motivated by different things. Like he wants to do stuff, but it was very clear that each step of his major progress has been through kind of hands-on stuff, like with you or with somebody else. We've told him go and watch videos. We've advised him to read this, look here, whatever. And he's kind of made bits of progress. But he it seems like, and again, there we go, I'm just judging somebody, but I do it all the fucking time. So, but it seems that each time he's gone away and come back with major progress has been when he's had like a hands-on thing with the airbrush with you guys.
Yeah,
everyone learns in different ways. So everyone has different learning styles. So for him, that seems to be the way.
Yeah, I bet you if you did that again, if you did a hobby afternoon at the club on a Saturday or whatever, and you said, well, we're going to do weathering now, I guarantee you the next time you saw his major leap forward, he'd have loads of awesome weathering models, because that seems to be how...
It's something we've discussed, actually. It might be something we look to do.
Cool. Yeah, I think we've had a really good chat there. I think Shadow Wars sounded like it was an awesome event. I think it sounded really good. I mean, yeah, there's always, I think, no matter what event you're going to come to, you're going to be tweaks. I'm looking forward to hearing the Sons of Heresy review of our event, because I'm sure they'll tear me to pieces, because I made Johnny go to a kebab house, not kebab house, I made him go to curry house and watch him smash poppadoms in his face, so he'll probably have some negative things about me making him drink Jägermeister. Or was it, no, I think it might be Jason who was Jägermeister's fault. But yeah, so I think there's always things to tweak, but generally it sounded pretty cool. But yeah, I think we're going to take a little break here then, guys, and we'll come back and see you in a bit. Hi guys, we're going to go into our section with on the Tarsis event now. We did some live recordings on the date, and actually, due to wibbly wobbly timey wimey, we're actually recording this little intro bit the day after we recorded the main section, because Stu's been spent all day battling with the recordings. Because, I mean, let's face it, I've got a photography degree. Nick's a civil servant. Stu's a stay-at-home dad. None of us have got a clue about audio stuff. Right, Stu, you've got a bit of an idea with audio stuff, haven't you? You've done a bit in the past.
I have a little bit in the past, yes, but not dealing with poor quality audio and how to fix it.
So
that's what we've been presented with, really. But
yeah, we've had to lose 2 sections of recording. So Rob Dunk, we apologise, mate. You had an awesome chat with Stu, but the recording just hasn't come out, and we've made an executive decision that we don't want to bore the crap out of people struggling to hear it. And actually, we've lost the chat we had with Nick after round 1, didn't we?
Yeah,
which was actually a really good chat.
Big chat as well, wasn't it? It was about half an hour, 40 minutes, and we talked about his game in the first round. His Nick's super secret project didn't come to fruition in the end, and Nick ended up playing my Imperial Fists. So he was playing my game, playing my guys in that first round, and he gave a lovely account of the battle and how Horus crept up behind Dawn, and it was really funny and brilliant, and it's you just can't even hear it. It's not. There's so much background noise, you can't hear what he's saying. So unfortunately, we've lost that. So we may have to get Nick to retell that in the next show, because if he can remember the game, it's worth listening to, because it sounded like it was great fun, and that was the only round Nick played anyway. He stepped out after that. So and then we lost our Custodes Grav Tank chat, which we when we got the stats through live when we were recording that, so we all got excited and chatted about it. And unfortunately, even though we mentioned earlier in the show that we wouldn't talk about the rules because we talked about it later, unfortunately, it's should have listened to this bit and edited it first. It's not good enough.
This is very much like JP and Mark's Custos talk, where they had to chop and change and time stuff going on when they recorded their Custos talk, and then the rules, they'd got the 40k rules, and then the 30k rules dropped as they were recording. So we apologise, guys. One of the things we set out when we set out to do this podcast is one of the first things I think I said to you and Nick was, I'm not prepared to put out something where the audio quality is not there, because we're amateurs, we're professional amateurs or amateur professionals, whichever way around it is. But we're not recording on expensive equipment. We don't have access to the latest and greatest broadcasting kit, but we wanted a commitment that we want you guys to be able to listen to what we're saying. We want to be able to hear it without straining or, generally, having really poor quality video. So we've had to make a couple of executive decisions to bin off a couple of sections. But yeah, like I said, we'll get Nick to talk about his round at Tarsis if he can remember it, or and we've thrown the Grav Tank rules into the next episode, which by the time you get to it, you'll have all heard the rules and know the rules and stuff, But we'll have a chat about it and give you our opinions on that as well. But yeah, so unfortunately we've lost a bit of time with that. But I think the only other thing was we lost a bit of my intro into how the event works, didn't we, Stu?
Yeah. So we'll let you do a bit of an intro. Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you what's coming up next after this little intro. Bear in mind that it is still recorded on open mics and stupidly placed in the middle of all of the of all the games, with half the tables on one side, half the other, and I think it depended on who was playing near us whether we could actually hear ourselves. So but we so when we say about the sound quality, it's still not brilliant, but it is listenable. And if you at least fast forward through to the closing ceremony, even if you don't listen to all the game interviews, because it's pretty funny, and it's much easier to hear because there's no one rolling dice or shouting behind. But we've got there's a little bit of an intro when we first get there in the morning, and that's you can hear us on that one. That's just Tom and I, and then there's a bit of a chat with Andrew and Tom after their round 2 game, and there's a bit of a chat during the middle of round 3, and then there's a chat with Brendan and Ben after their game as well, and then the awards at the end is all still listenable. So you still got some good funny content, and it gives you a bit of a feel of the event. But I suppose over to Tom to sort of set you up for the event and talk to you about the scenarios and the way he set it up for the day.
Yeah, I mean, it was all based, around a loose narrative of 3 missions. So we split up War Master, traitors and loyalists. We appointed generals either side. First round was basically the end of the Tarsis event beforehand was a deadlock. The traitors and the loyalists were deadlocked. So we had a breakout mission first. So the first mission was about getting into your enemy's deployment zone to try and push forward, break out from this deadlock. The second mission was an ambush. So the victors from the first round was the traitors. So, excuse me, on the way to their sorry, I should give you some context. For those of you who haven't seen what we're posting, there were 10 signals discovered on Tarsis, and the overriding principle is to break out and rush to these to get to these signals being broadcast around the third hive in Tarsis. So the first mission was break out from the camps. The second mission was the traitors decided that on the way out they were going to divert some forces off and annihilate the rest of the rest of the loyalists. So we had an ambush scenario which was pretty brutal that round. I think the traitors took the loyalists took an absolute pasting that time. Brendan had a bit of luck. He managed to do some good for the loyalists, but generally it was a bit of a massacre. But lo and behold, as we went into the third round, the traitors had actually the loyalists had seen the ambush coming. They diverted their forces off, sacrificed some of their forces, and actually stolen the march to the signals on the traitors. So in the third round, though the traitors were leading and victorious, they sort of started with a slight disadvantage going into that because the loyalists had got there first. And then the last mission was just one objective: get to the center ground, hold the central objective, and that was it. There were no secondary objectives. It was just a grab the center and hold. So get in there and hold tight and batter each other. The other thing that I think we missed was the resource cards, wasn't it, that you won't explain about. So you'll hear I think Brendan especially talking about how he was given cards. So during the rounds, for every 5 victory points the side earned, they got a card basically, and they range from things like getting all your tanks to be fast, to orbital strikes, phosphex bombardments. Also things like relics of the Dark Age of technology, so that you could win one for your warlord, void shield harnesses and nanite blasters and all kinds of crazy stuff in there. And these were awarded, like I said, some were buffs to a unit that stayed with the unit till they were destroyed. Some were sort of one-use things, throw an orbital strike in and then, hand a card back and it would go back into the pack. But actually, it racked up to be such a brutal and bloody event that we actually ran out of cards at the end. All the cards have been allocated. I think I did about 60 resource cards, and in the third round, they were all out on the table. So, I think there was a lot of toing and froing. I think Brendan takes on a pretty brutal list in the last round, and he knew he was going to struggle. So he went around and basically went, give me all the cards you can give me. And he pared his Mechanicum up to superhuman level to really balance it. So, yeah, I mean, those are the bits you'll probably miss. Most of the other rounds will explain what's going on and chat about things and stuff. But, that's kind of how the structure of the event ran. So we'll let you guys get into it. I don't think there was anything else we need to mention, was there, Stu?
No, I think that's covered probably a lot more concisely than we ramble on drunkenly in the middle of the afternoon. Most of the section it isn't listenable really, but enjoy the next few bits and forgive the sort of barroom sound quality, but it's worth listening and having a bit of fun, and then we'll see you on the other side for the close down of the show.
Yeah, take it easy, guys. Yeah, one last caveat: we were drinking. I've been drinking all day. If anybody wants to come back with factual inaccuracies, I don't care. I was hammered. So yeah, enjoy, guys. Have fun, and we'll catch you on the other side.
Hey guys, welcome to Tarsis. We're out in the field today. I'm talking into a microphone for once, not sat in front of my computer drinking rum. But we're out in the field. First round is going on. If you guys are on our social media, you've probably seen me spamming pictures up for the first round in the tables. So the plan for today is me and Stu are about him, but he's dying of death of his ailment, so he's going to drop out a bit. So we're going to try and record some stuff, get some people on, get some field reports in the Horace fashion, and generally give you a commentary on the day. So I'm sat here with Stu at the moment.
Hello. I'm here with a beer, and Nick's not dying of his ailments. He's hungover.
Is he hungover?
I think he told me he was hungover, so we don't want to give him too much.
No sympathy there. He's but you're pretty dying, aren't you, Stu? You're dying of death.
I have been ill this week. That's why I've got medicinal beer, and we'll be passing around the tournament aids today. People can't go home without a little present from the Gino.
Yeah.
Like Gino germs, and anyway, yeah, but it'll be fun to grab a few of the players over and have a bit of chat with them about their armies and their background and stuff, and see how they go.
Yeah, we're going to try and grab a few people and get them to jump in and have a chat and stuff as the day goes on. Record a few sections, so there's going to be some few little bursty interviews and stuff. But a bit of background then, we're down at Incom Gaming, which you've definitely heard us talk about. If you listen to any more than one of our episodes, you've probably heard about it. Little hit of history. I think you remember a couple of episodes ago we talked about an event we ran, School event. That was the first of the Tarsis events, which means you actually participated in. That was the invasion of Tarsis 4. We sat at the tables, everybody's broken in. We've run a course about 3 months ago now, wasn't it?
I think so. Was it end of July? Or
yeah, about 3 months. I've got this memory. The wife's been telling me off because I've run 2 events in 6 months. So she's done nothing but organise events for 6 months. So she's pretty hacked off with that now. But so we had the invasion of Tarsis 4, which actually ground to a deadlock with the loyalists and traitors dragging into a hole. So we've had some reinforcements. We've got some people about. We've got a couple of overlords. We've got some vulnerable members here. We've got a few locals. We've got some guys you've heard before. We've got Sam from 6 Up Save from Worcester about. So there's a good crew of people. We've got 18 players ready to battle it out, haven't we?
We have 19 actually.
19? Oh yeah, we've got to do a bit of jiggling. Nick's dying and dropping out.
And then we'll go back to 18 there. But it's all going well. We're able to sit here and chat and drink because everyone's being adults and playing nicely.
Yeah, no squabbles in play school yet. So we've got a load of armies here. We've got a range of armies, haven't we? We've got some militia, we've got some mechanicum, we've got pretty good spread of legions, to be fair. Not too many duplications. Anything grabs your eye that you see on the table, Stu?
Well, Tim from the Iron Horse will like this, but Brendan thinks his mechanicum looks pretty special.
Yeah, that's lovely, isn't it?
Of that. There's some really nice Alpha Legion over there. One of two Alpha Legion armies, I think. Three actually, maybe three. Or are there?
Or are they, yeah.
There's a really nice Imperial Fists force on the table at the moment that Nick seems to be using because his super secret project wasn't finished and ended up bothering my army. But what about yourself? What's caught your eye?
I like Jason from the Overlords. I don't know if you guys might know the Overlords 40k podcast. We got not Jason. Jason's Space Wolves are nice, but Johnny's Blood Angels. Johnny's too. Is it too much to bring 2 Leviathans at 2,000 points and drop one army? So he's got loads of shiny gold Blood Angels and Leviathans. Really nice. He's taken on James's Iron Warriors. The guys of you that follow on Facebook, this is the Iron Warriors army that my Ultramarines have a bit of an ongoing grudge with. They're all penned in the corner with our artillery, and suddenly 2 Leviathans and a lot of Assault Marines have appeared in front of them. And that looks like a really good fun game down there as well. I'm currently looking at a Raven Guard laser destroyer sat on top of what to scale is probably a 50-foot crane.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a bit of
that's probably 15 inches high.
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah. It's a hell of a bit of driving by that Raven Guard team.
Yeah, I've been enjoying my mind.
It's pretty stable, to be fair. It's not bad. TP Combat's a big crane. It's pretty cool, actually. It's pretty stable, but it's hilarious. There's a laser destroyer race sat on top of a crane just dropping shots.
There's 2 quad mortars on the other side of the building. They were on top of the terrain as well.
There were 3 Alpha Legion quad mortars on top of the watchtower as well.
It's easily where you stick your artillery. It'd obviously be.
I'm just worried where those quad mortars have gone. Something's killed them.
A laser destroyer probably took it off. It's pointing that way. You can see it's
It's only one shot. There's 3 quad mortars with 4 wounds each. That's the 3 quad mortars in coverage, pretty much immune to shooting. Something's killed.
Maybe they weren't deployed. Maybe that was. Maybe it's a bluff. Maybe it was one of those. I'm just going to leave them there. You'll think they're deployed. Then I'll move my rulebook on the table, and that's where I'll deploy my army. I'll psychological tricks. What else have you got? We've got another Iron Warriors, another really nicely painted Raven Guard army. I wonder who painted that.
I wonder who painted that one as well. Yeah. There's a couple of miniature round painted armies out there.
Cheesy advertising into the opening 5 minutes of the second. Yeah, some really good looking stuff, and looking forward to getting some results in and getting some of the players to talk about their games.
Yeah. So what we'll do then, guys, we'll leave you there, and hopefully we'll drop back with some interviews with some people telling us how their day's going, good or bad. Cheers, guys. Hi guys, we've been halfway through round 1. We're about 40 minutes left, aren't we? And we got Tom and we got Andrew. They've had a good smashing fight. Comes to the end of it, pretty brutal. The scenario is pretty brutal for this mission. It's an ambush deployment. It's gonna. When I wrote it, I went, somebody's gonna get screwed over with this. Somebody's gonna have a good game. So we set it up so that the loyalists who lost the first round, they're deploying up the field. They're sort of getting themselves together after being ambushed, and the traitors have said, right, we're gonna punch them in the face and really have a go at them. So how did you guys get on in your game there?
Well, the Night Lord seized the initiative, which was an advantage, and then charged straight away. So Raptors went in, killed a missile launcher squad, turn 1. Your Land Raider, which got ambushed by all my anti-tank, managed to survive. So that sticks around. But yeah, when my entire army's in combat by turn 2, it's not going to be a good day.
No, really. So I'm sorry, I should have given a big call to Andrew. She's got his Night Lords army. Some of you will have seen it on the Facebook groups. Army I fought a couple of times. Tom's got his Dark Angels there as well. So sorry, give us some context to actually what's going on here. Yeah. So it was pretty brutal then.
Yeah, it's a bit of a taste in the. It was not much more flies.
Yeah, that's what we're supposed to happen. You're supposed to get pounded. So who knows what's going to happen in the next round? Secrets of lies, plans and plots. We'll see what happens in the next round.
The game ended with the Dark Angels command was charging Conrad, presumably hoping to get something out of the debacle. At which point Conrad decided to tell all his men to back off and handle them single-handedly, which he probably did.
Very, very Conrad though, isn't it? I don't mean my Legion, nothing happened, but yeah, very Dark Angels. With their charge.
With the bolt pistol before the combat.
I don't know, yeah. Pop charge!
So it sounds like everything went wrong. Did anything perform well? Happy with the way any unit went?
The veterans did okay, and it was a private legion that started running anyway, but the veterans were okay. I mean, none of the units particularly underperformed, I think, but
it's just
the
scenario was never going to
imagine you start a 40k game at turn 3, where one side is an assault army and one's reasonably shooty.
But the biggest problem I think when we've had games, Andrew, is if I can keep you out of my lines, I beat you because my ultimates tend to shoot you off the table. And when you've got in my lines, you hit. And with the ambush deployment, you can be on top of the opponent. I mean, some of you've got quite good, Dark Angels are quite fighty, but they're not, Night Lords are really fighty. So, I mean, imagine you didn't get a lot of time to fire and fight, you kind of were on top of you.
Yeah, I mean, at given time, they can react quite well to most forces. The same as like the Angels and Scouts.
Given the quad mortar managed to take 3 helpful points off the Land Raider in one round of shooting, if you'd had one more, that would have made a difference.
Yeah. It sounds like the biggest teller here was the fact that the traitors won that first round. If you were ambushing yourself, you could have almost done it slowly and drawn Andrew out to spread his forces out in all 4 directions, maybe. So it might have been a bit of a different story. But a salty, hard-hitting, horrible army ambushing is
But if anyone's going to be good at ambushing at night, it should probably be the night.
Because the other thing that I threw into the scenario was you've got I think the winning side, which is the Ravens, has got is it D3 turns of night fighting? I don't know, the Andrew brought 2 turns of night fighting, which for Night Lords is just horrendous. So he covered his assault as well. So I mean, you were stuck from the start. So we were trying to build a thematic mission, like a scenario. It seems to have gone the way it should have done, but it's built a story.
So what we probably need to cover is what you've got on your list. You guys want to sort of take it and tell us to sort of give us a brief rundown.
So 2 10-man raptor squads with a variety of nasty weapons. One led by a creator with digilasers and a paragon blade, which is actually Zoe Sahal, if anyone's read Lord of the Night. The old Simon Spurrier, very good, read it if you get the chance. And the other one led by the Primarch himself. A couple of vet squads, one of which is in a Rhino with a multi-motor, because it's a 50-point anti-tank unit. 5 catbacks in a Land Raider, and then a couple of the old Fox Dreads. Turns out they're still quite good.
They're much better in 30k than they are in 40k. They're definitely much better.
What about you, Tom?
I've recently read Angels of Caliban, so I kind of tailored my list to try and be very sort of Dreadwing, Phosphex heavy. Maybe a little bit over the top of it. But
it'd be good if they'd got more than one barrel.
One should have been enough. So it's pretty much just go around the Pride of the Legion list. I've got a Praetor command squad, 4 guys with power squads, they were all in the Phobos. The troops, it was 2 attacks, both with the acid heavy bolters, which this game didn't do so well. There were water 6s for the AP, which
they were remarkably consistently APC.
I think they were maybe using vinegar instead of acid. But yeah, in combat they were okay. For elites, had the pair of quad mortars, Phosphex shells, the siege wagon, HQ. He was given a bit more attack into missile just elites had a destroyer squad. More attacking along with him. He did the pair of them actually.
Yeah, he got 11 hits on a tactical unit, killing 4 of them. The remaining, killing 7 of them. The remainder of whom were probably mowed down by carries and scouts.
I think there's going to be a list that really, once we get the rules finally, 8, 9, 10, whatever it happens to fall, I think Dreadwing might be really interesting.
The Night Lords took a bathroom again. So what was Mortal Armor?
2 Platinum Pistols and John Paxton. Yeah. He's great.
They do their job, don't they? They do. I'm looking at putting one in my zonal tiles force just to run him around the zonal tiles, just going pow, 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 with Volkites as well, just to go pow, 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 oh, extra people explode.
Yeah. I think all three of us in the union have got a little secret, maybe do a Dark Ages force in the future. We've all enjoyed Age of the Caravan recently, but I think it's
the classic, a good book comes out, and it just makes you go, oh, I want to do that Legion.
I just want to paint loads of chicken wristbands. I mean, Michael from Romance concert.
I mean, I had a little wobble up the end of Dawn, and I went, oh, I might do it with Fist, and I've never thought that in my life. I thought, oh, maybe they're quite cool, but a good book comes out, it really does help with these, doesn't it? And I mean, Age of Caravan, because for somebody where you haven't got that right of war, or maybe a lot of information to build a list from, to theme into, a really good book like Age of Caravan gives you a really great place to start building and go, right, this is what I want my army to be like, rather than just here's a right of war, here's the unit strategy. You can actually say this is what the story I want.
I suppose in a way it gives you a bit more freedom to sort of explore the different parts of the Legion. I mean, once they get like Legion specific units, it's kind of like almost like, well, I should take that because they're the Legion, so I'm that specific ones.
Yeah, you get tied into doing it. It's kind of like, I mean, with me and my old crews, Suzerain is so good, you kind of throw them in straight away, but rather than, going, does this fit? So you've got a really good range to go, well, actually I can look at all the stories. I'm going through all the audiobooks again. I've started from that, and I've just gone through, what's the first book? Fallen Angels, and listening to that, I've just gone, do you know what? Listening to it again, once I've got the context of the heresy, and I'm caught up with it, so much better. Because I can see that point of when you go, you get the first 3 books of Full Grim, and you sort of like into the heresy, and then suddenly it goes back. But once you've got that in the back of your head, you can go, I can enjoy that story because I'm not expecting the story to progress because I've got this in.
I think they kind of slated for early on the first couple of books, but like you say, once you've read them in context or maybe back to them, it seems to have a lot more.
I've always been really interested in the Fallen because Cypher is one of the characters in the game. Presumably the original Fallen. I'll wait to see his when he gets it. But yeah, they got a lot more fleshed out.
I think that's the book that's kind of almost validated the even though what's the second?
So it was Descent of Angels,
yes,
Fallen Angels.
Yeah.
Then you get the Lion. It's interesting in that it just killed Menial.
Yeah, we don't want him in the story.
Yeah, nothing like a good spoiler to throw in there, isn't it? I mean, how long has he been out? It's been out a while.
It's old.
He's out for ages.
So Nick, when he's there, he spoils all the latest books anyway, and other people's
I'm amazed he hasn't dropped the big thing from Dawn yet, has he? We managed to keep him on that.
Luckily, I can edit, so but I actually want to go back and reread the first 2 pages. I enjoyed it, but it did feel like it's almost like at the time the pace of the novels, it was like, why are they doing this now? And in hindsight, you can realise that they're actually, hey, with these novels doing well, we need to slow these down and build some real background and content.
Descent of Angels, the first 2 birds, when it's Caliban, is quite good.
Yeah.
But then the end is just extremely harsh.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily badly written or anything, it's just clearly you have this page count. Stick to it, whatever it does to the story.
It needed another 2 or 3 chapters. I've just been through it again, and it's like it kind of all builds to the point of the Imperium arriving, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's 2/3 of the book, and then the snooper almost gets into space and gets turned around straight away and sent back. And I know that's kind of how it's supposed to be, but there's no development of the characters. Such good character development and Dark Age development up to that point. That when it's thrown, it's sort of like, and then this great sort of cataclysmic event happens with Luther being sent back, and it kind of really screws the Legions. It kind of happens with almost no coverage, and it's sort of like, and this happens. It could have done with another.
I was really excited when we got to that part of the book. We're back in the Heresy. It feels like it doesn't feel like a medieval novel anymore. We're finally back to Crusade kind of stuff, and then it's kind of gone, isn't it?
Yeah, it happens very quickly.
There was a few strange choices in that. You've got it's from the perspective of the librarian. Sorry.
Yeah.
And it's almost like he's banished back to Caliban with Luther. Spoilers, but like there's no real sort of reason
because he happened to be there, really, isn't it? I think another chance maybe from the Lion's point of view, because the Lion almost makes that decision like that. Yeah. There's no thought, there's no process. Whereas maybe a little chapter of him discussing it with somebody, maybe with the full cipher, just going, and this happened, and so I'm going to banish them all. would just give you a bit more context.
Fallen Angels is good because it gives you more characterization of the line as this sort of almost like autistic person who doesn't understand
Here's a theory.
social interaction.
Yeah, here's a theory I'm going to throw you. From listening to Angels of Caliban, from Fallen Angels, the Lions are repressed psycho like Sabotage. If you listen to it and read it again, there are very few hints. He stands next to an action partner who can't stand, who really struggles next to him. He does some very interesting things. If you listen to it, and it is literally 3 or 4 lines in the book. It's a really out there theory, but I kept getting this thing in the back of my head going, Lions are psycho.
All the Primarchs have some psychic abilities, whether it's shoot lightning out your fingers or it's Korax being invisible.
Yeah.
Herb's doing his stuff.
Yeah. There's a very interesting. It's definitely you've got to go back to the book, and I've got it from the audio book, being able to listen to it, maybe with not the interaction. There's some stuff in there you think the Lions are psycho, a more powerful psycho than maybe some of the other Primarchs.
I agree. Yeah. There's a couple of moments where he's talking to Zariel again.
Yeah.
And it's talking about it, and they say, "Oh, we're the only two to kill them."
Yeah, and we know Zahari will kill him through psychic power, being able to go. So there's some interesting little moments. It's Dark Angels, very secrets and cloaks and lies, and never quite there. But
going back to Zahari, I think we talked about earlier, a bit weird that he got sent back. I think he sent back. I think, and that's the whole point of having him there.
It's why the incident that happens in the Primarchs is so weird. We've got it set up that him and Nemiel are going to choose different sides. Yeah. It's going to be an interesting journey. Explore the Legion through those two characters. It's like, nope, that won't happen anymore.
Nemiel is definitely the plot device. Because in later books, Angels and things, he's used to tell.
I think they used that decision well later on.
Yeah.
Still not sure I'd have made it as Gavin.
He's used very well to tell Luther's story, because one thing the Forge World books have done very well is not tell the story from that person's point of view. So the Luther story is very important. They don't tell it from Luther's point of view, you see it from observations of Luther. So Nemiel feels that role of being able to observe Luther on the planet, so we get that kind of story. I mean, so the outside observer, rather than, because one of the things from the Forge World books is it's unreliable narrators. It's definitely, to borrow from Arthur and that point of it's being told from a point of view. We don't know the key player's actual thoughts. We know what is expressed and what's told to these quite important point of view characters.
It'll be interesting to see who Psycho is by the end of the series.
Do you think we'll find out?
I think we'll get an idea of who it is.
Do you think we might get maybe 2 or 3 hints, maybe a couple of characters?
Well, things we know exactly the identity of Psycho at the moment. If you've read it.
I don't. I may have missed that. Maybe me.
I'll talk to you about it off tape.
Yeah, we won't spoil it. I may have missed that. Maybe I was listening to Angels of Caliban while I was working on it on my work laptop, so I did zone out for some points there, so I may have missed that. So that's interesting. I might be a bit gap in my knowledge. That's what I think they'll leave it with maybe two candidates that it could definitely be. So because I don't think GW would want to spoil that, would want to spoil that kind of anonymity. That's part of the character, isn't it? Of this is the enigma of Cypher.
In which case, someone's well-loved character is going to
book. There's another great story. So cool. So I think Dark Angels chat has definitely gone well there, guys. So we'll take a break there, and we'll probably come back after round 3. Hi guys, we're midway through. Well, coming to the end of round 3, aren't we? We've had some pretty some good games going on. It's been pretty wild, and so we've got Brendan with us.
Hey guys, how's it going?
You might have heard him, Audible member with the Eye of Horus. So Tim, this is for you.
Favourite mechanical player. I'm very excited about you.
I got some very excited message when he checked that you were coming to our event. So
tried to share a few pictures earlier this morning, so I got a whole bunch more. Once I get home and get set up, I'll put them all up. Yeah.
Throw them into the Gino podcast and the Gino page. Throw them all up on there. We want to get us started. So, how's your day been, Brendan?
Pretty good. A little tired now. We kind of get up at 5:30 to get here in time.
Brutal.
3 really good games. Played against some lists that the likes of which I've never seen before, so that was good. All fun games, yeah, good guys.
The last one was something quite
the last one was a bit of a mission. Last game of the day, getting a little tired.
mass horde militia to do
Yeah.
with 3 knights.
Yeah, 100,000 cultists, a bunch of knights, Malkinors. Managed to take out all of the super heavies, but there was no way.
Did he get many demons in? This is Ben. You might remember Ben from a couple of episodes ago. He was trying to summon demons. So you didn't have to face the demons as well, then?
I did a few, but because of the cards, the kind of special powers that we gained through the campaign, as the demons came in, I actually prospect, bomb, and lance strike them off the table. So not too bad.
Not too bad, yeah, awesome. So, and we've actually got Ben with us. So, guys, you probably remember Ben from a couple of episodes. Came on, talked to us about Attack and Reaver. So, your crazy demon summoner. So, not too many demons today, then?
No, they mostly perils to the tide. I just got wiped out at the stages of the game.
That's proper human cycles for you, isn't it? Ripped into the wall. So, how's your day been, Ben?
Yeah, good. So, lost the first game, won 2 games.
Oh, nice. That seems to be pretty fair for most people, actually. Most people seem to be going 2 wins and a half for the day, actually, across everything.
Yeah, I was surprised that the Loyalists didn't take the second round, so let's see how they do in the third.
Yeah, it's been pretty brutal. I've got the scores counted up. So,
I think the Loyalists was dealt a tough card in that second round.
They got shattered. I think Brendan was about the only one who was happy with that setup. He said Stannard bar up on the top of a huge tower and plasma bomb the crap out of everyone. Every other Loyalist went.
Did any other Loyalists win that round?
Let's have a quick look.
Is that too many beers on from entering the
No,
results?
Loyalists won 3 games actually in round 2, so 3 out of 9.
Yeah.
So they lost the majority, but they took a pounding.
It's always going to happen.
How much is not always the end of the world, depending on what you're playing against. So because the word bearers that I was playing against were kind of coming in dribs and drabs outflanking. I was able to deal with them as they came in, so I was able to concentrate on one thing at a time. So
that makes sense.
Being that there was a giant platform in the centre of the table with a Thanatar and a bunch of Castellax on it.
They gave you a good fight. We spoke to Andrew Green earlier, who was running Night Lords. And he was attacking Dark Angels, and they had 3 rounds of Night Function. So he had a good time attacking. But it's a very, you're like you're saying, it's very different.
I played Andrew in the first round.
Right.
So, that was my first time playing Night Lords.
Yeah.
First time seeing Curse in the flesh. Interesting character.
I've only played Andrew once, and he beat me, and Andrew beats Tom quite a lot as well.
We've got I've got a grudge with our Iron Warriors player. I've got a grudge with our Night Lords player. We seem to punch the crap out of each other. And it all comes, for me and Andrew, it comes out that first 2 turns. If he gets in my line, that's the done. As long as I can hold him off with firepower, I tend to beat him then.
I think he's just beaten Kurt in the last round as well, and I think that's 4-0 to him now for the last few months. So Kurt took it to the end there, but I think it was a little bit.
I think that was a Night Hunter versus Korax showdown as well.
It was a massive Isfan style punch up in the middle of the board with the Night Hunter and the Raven going toe to toe in the middle.
It was so Night Lords as well because there was a cheeky Praetor stabbing Korax in the back.
Hiding around the side, giving him the outnumbered rule and just generally being a pain. So I mean, how have you guys found the day? I mean, this is like the first big time event we've run where we've really kind of advertised how it's actually the second event I've ever bloody run. So and I went, I've done 10 people in the event, I'll do 20 people and advertise it nationwide. We'll go for it. So I mean, how have you found the day in general?
Well, it's the only venue I've ever played in with a bar, so
it's always
that was a nice touch. Yeah, but putting your card behind the bar at the start of the day is probably a bad idea, but whatever.
Run a tap.
Chip likes to run a tap.
It worked out.
I think he's got a rack of credit cards behind the bar now. It's working quite well.
No, great venue, great tables, great mats.
Nice. The train is really good actually. There's a great variety in the train as well as actually the quality of the train. So it's really lovely to see.
Cool, we tried really hard. We as a club, the Pork Chop Club, there's a whole ton of terrain still outside, but it's in various states of paint and great. So one of the good things we try to do is when we set up the train was we got 10 tables of themey terrain. It matches it.
Very distinct, very themed stuff.
And we tried to create a variety of, kind of just packed tables with scenery for night, sort of urban terrain, and some big open tables as well to give one of the rules we see, like I said, is you don't play the same table twice. So if you've got an army that needs a lot of cover, you pick the really cover-heavy table first. Chances are you're going to get stuck on a table with no cover next time. So it should keep the armies just going, I'm really good on this table, I'm going to camp on this table.
Yeah, I mean, the maths, are they for the game math?
GameMap.eu,
Yeah.
I'll do my shameless plug here. We are sponsored by Incom. Incom are the UK distributor. As a club, we're really lucky that we've got 10 6x4 game mats that we play on every week. We've got some Realm of Battle cards, and we throw them into some of the scenery, but I mean, we can do Realm of Battle cards. If you go upstairs in the right office upstairs, you can find like a hoarding pile of game mats that get sold off. So yeah, we have used it. We've got game mat scenery, we've got game mats, and it's really nice.
Yeah, I noticed. I think they have a whole bunch of new scenery, right? Because I saw it on one of
the table where you piled up you and your Thanator heading on top and stuff. That's the game mat unpainted scenery. So it's our urban scenery. It's about, I think it's 110 quid through chip unpainted and about 130 painted. We've got the unpainted ones.
There's a lot of line of sight blocking terrain in that kit.
We unpacked it. We got it the other day and we unpacked it and we went, fuck, this is massive.
Yeah.
Generate
Quite light as well. Yeah. I think it's hollow. It's not kind of like Forge World resin, is it? It's more plastic. If anyone's
plastic cement or whatever it's called.
Yeah, it's a funny line between being plastic and fully resin. It's kind of in the middle.
Games Workshop have made stuff with it in the past, I think, some of their scenery.
Yeah.
But it's super durable, like it'll never break.
Yeah. I mean, that's we have a club every few months. We have to recycle terrain and get rid of some stuff and get new stuff in because we got plastic out stuff. It just doesn't. We play every week and it gets thrown in and out of use, so it needs a bit of refreshment. But yeah, I mean, one of the things we wanted to do is make sure that the tables playing, because one of the reasons we play Heresy is we want the story, and playing on a fully painted armies on a green table with a couple of bits of cardboard, we actually want we want the tables to look cool as well.
Did you just receive a score sheet with 0, 0, 0, 0,
0? Look closer than that on the table.
That's a bad round for the Raven Guy. That's the thing, I built three. The first match was supposed to be fairly even because the event, the end of the first Tarsis was a deadlock, and then it was supposed to be fairly brutal from there on out. That's the way a war goes. If you don't get the initial blow, quite often you're on the back foot the whole way through. So the loyalists have been fighting off the back foot the whole way through.
Yeah, I think you like to win games, but no one's winning first prize here today. It's not a tournament. It is supposed to be about having a bit of fun, and the prize is to do with hobby-related stuff. So I'm sure some people will go home. I was screwed right in that game. And hopefully they didn't have 3 games like that. I feel like they've had a bad day. You could get unlucky maybe and have that, but on the whole, hopefully the balance has been there and it's been generally fun. It feels like that.
We've got the strategic asset cards. The fact that you're not being paired up on a Swiss round, you can't, I think there are some people who saw your list better would just go, no. Not playing that, can't play it. But you can pick that. You can find a match that suits. We do try and say, don't play anybody twice. So don't play. So you might actually get to one round and you think, I'm playing an army I don't want to play, I'm okay. But if there was something on the table where just can't play that, if someone had brought a whole night list and just went, against somebody who's got all infantry stuff, I can't play that, so I'm not going to. So you're not going to be a day spoiled by playing something you really can't play. You might get a matchup that's not great for you, but you've still got a chance. All I like to say, what I want is people to play 5 turns where in each turn they feel like they're still in the game. I played some 40k games where if I turn 2 I've got lost this. So it's great. I don't want to play anymore.
The strategic cards, they made a big difference as well, because when we kind of sat down as loyalists to talk about the final round, who would play who would take what cards, we decided that the militia and knights list was probably the hardest one out there. So I was plentifully supplied with special strategic cards going into that game. And it made a big difference.
Well, that was the hope that your list would be. I think generally the consensus is Ben, yours is probably the most brutal list game. I think that's something to do with the fact that we don't see a lot of militia lists. Right. It's more to do with the fact that I don't think people see that a lot. Not that it's necessarily a gaming list. It's just that we don't see it a lot. So most people here gear up to play a legion.
The irony is, yours the knights. Everyone's scared of the knights. I lost all 3 knights in 2 of my games. The knights aren't actually that scary, but it takes a lot of anti-infantry firepower to actually wipe off the entire militia squad.
And then the pressure comes off your militia because you spend 2 rounds trying to kill the knights, and suddenly you've got to deal with a whole screaming horde of cultists. You're like, oh shit, hang on, I've got to deal with these now. Like I said, I don't think it was potentially like a game-breaking bad list. If you'd have sent it, that's really bad. I'd have sent you and sent it. It just is completely different to what we're used, especially as a club. Jason London is doing cards around the back of us here. he feels left out because he's podcasting without him involved. So, so yeah, I mean, and the one thing about it is like, your list makes sense. Your army's fully painted. Most people go, it's tough, but it's cool. I don't care, you know.
And you managed to find someone to push your monster.
Yeah,
managed to get a help with them.
You need like a servitor for every game to push around the cards.
For sure, you need to bring an assistant mid as well.
Here, boy!
Move them 6 inches now. Keep unit coherency. No, that was awesome, guys. So, you both generally enjoyed the day then?
Yeah, it was
great day.
Cool. Well, hopefully we'll catch you soon, and we'll hope you get you down for the next event. I appreciate you guys coming on.
Awesome.
Thank you very much, guys.
You probably should have guessed by now. Me and Stu and Nick, who's now buggered off because that's what he does. We're part of the Geno podcast, so I'm going to do a shameless plug. Please download our podcast. It's the three of us getting really drunk and talking about shit. And if you want to listen to three idiots, if you want to listen to three idiots talk about heresy and get stuff wrong and get really drunk and go off on weird tangents, go listen to the other podcast. If you want some three British lads who just get into an argument about stuff, give us a shout. I'm going to actually record this prize giving, so
It's recorded now.
Oh shit!
You're loud enough that it'll be
I'll
kicking out.
so, we're going to have a bit of a record. So we've got a few people in who've come and done interviews with us. We appreciate you guys who jumped in. Hopefully everyone's had a good day.
Yeah.
Awesome, that's it. So we'll give you the end result then. So at 633 points to 569, and that's the most important number, isn't it? 69. Soissons-Neuf. The traitors have carried the day. Freak out! The traitors, to be fair, the loyalists pulled it back in the last round. They clawed it back, they started to come back, but I think the second round screwed all the loyalists, didn't it? That was pretty brutal for most people. So, appreciate you guys coming down. So we've got a couple of awards to give. We're going to start off with the easiest one, because that's the one me and Stu decided on. When I say me and Stu decided on it, I started talking to Jason and stopped voting. Stu, as the actual professional painter here, has picked this as the Best Painted Award, who takes away 10 Space Marines. I'll never do any better again! Oh, piss off. Piss off! Answer it. So best painted, I think it was. We were quite unanimous in the end, weren't we? We really like the army. Oh, sorry. Dale wins because he undercoated everything white. Pretty unanimously, me and Stu, we both agreed that Brendan, we love you all. Come on, you beautiful man. Excellent. Right, Brendan, I love you.
Don't run away.
Don't run away. We got some Space Marines for you. Because as a mechanical player, what you really need is more Space Marines.
He takes custodes, by the way.
Brendan, doesn't like 10 space
Well,
I need.
what happens after the prizes when you all go off in trade and swap around,
The negotiation begins.
Negotiation begins. I'm allocating. Well done, Bram. Cheers, Brendan. Well done, Bram. So the next one was the peer voted best hobby, and to be honest, it was really close. With nearly every army that was out on the table got voted for. So I think that says more about our hobby than anything, doesn't it? Where nearly everybody takes a vote for best hobby. People put effort in. But generally it wasn't overwhelming, but it was quite clear. The winner for best hobby was Simon, his Alpha Legion. Cheers, buddy. Well done. You and the next two awards have got a choice between Custodes, Sisters, Tartarus, Araman, and Grigor. So you can have a good choice between those. We'll do the negotiations at the end. We'll have some power negotiations at the end. And then best. Oh shit! What have I done with the certificates? There we are. Yeah. Fucking professional host here. I run a podcast. I'm well slick, and I. Children. Well, I'm sorry, I've made it this far, I really tried, but I'm going to slip now. Do what my daughter does. She doesn't listen to a word I say.
Nobody does.
So, this is pretty much, everyone just turns up here, plays hobby, and just forgets what I say, so that's pretty easy. So, next one then was best sports, and again, one of the best things about this event in this community, every player received a vote for best sport, which I think is pretty awesome, that nobody come to me and gone, oh, that guy I played is a dick. Mainly because I'm not playing. Most people I'm playing, I'm the one that people come and go, well, he's a dick. He's ultramarine, so he's a dick. So, It was quite, Suzerain and Spartans. Well, who doesn't like that? 1,500 points. So yeah, best sporting. We did actually have quite a good outright winner in the end, and the best outright winner went to Johnny.
Oh!
Excellent. So the last one to vote on then is the Saga Legend. Now me and Stu have been through, and what have we got one more for?
Because.
Oh yeah, shit, that was a draw.
Because you've just spoke loads and loads.
Because I'm a
crap,
shithead.
And it was a draw.
Yeah, sorry.
That outright winner was absolutely.
Yeah, I told you, I'm shit.
Sam,
you draw to first place as well.
Less than 10 minutes.
I'm going to put it to each other.
Get Tom out.
Yeah, sorry guys. I think it's happened. I think it's happened at the last prize giving as well, didn't I?
You
completely lost control. I don't know what's going on.
You've all over again.
You come here expecting the organiser to be in charge. That is all your fatal mistake. So the last one to vote for is Saga Legends. We me and Stu have picked out the 3 best stories from date, and there has been a load of stories. There's been some really cool ones. We've had some difficulty actually selecting 3, didn't we? We actually sat down and we had Nick as well. We got his input for about 10 minutes. We managed to keep his attention. I rattled my keys in front of his face for a bit, like a baby. So we're going to get the 3 guys who have put the sagas in to come out and read them, and then we'll have a bit of a group vote. So the finalists are Andrew, read yours, Brendan, and Jason.
Mullins.
Someone shouts into a microphone. Read your story out then. Tell us what the story is.
This was what James and I, and it's called The Wall of Iron and Fire. Ambushed, the wolves struck out in all directions. The glaive smashed the Iron Warriors' artillery, and oh god, I need to check my own.
He wrote this like
and his son was smashed by Turk Perturabo and his siege terminators. So close were the wolves to the Iron Warriors, they called down phosphex on their own positions, killing all. The Iron Wolf, Bertrax, met Perturabo in the center of the field with his Volkite, and he smote Perturabo in a mighty wound, causing him to retreat. The wolves won the day. What cost?
Make Ispan great again!
Make Ispan great again!
He may or may not have done himself some damage there by not reading that properly.
Grab Ispan by the...
What you want to do is make it understandable.
Yeah, you're probably right. Give us your bit, James.
Korax launched himself at the Talon Master, who managed to fend off the Primarch's assault. With a cry of rage, Kurz hurled himself into the melee. As Korax turned to face the new assault, Sahel threw himself onto Korax's back, his claws sinking into the Primarch's shoulder. As Korax reared back in pain, Kurz sunk his claws into the Raven's exposed throat.
Hang on, is that a love story?
That sounds like Soul
So Brendan's give us your story then.
Cool. This is actually
1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1.
One day there were 3
Someone
birds.
say 2?
It's triple binary.
Don't laugh.
You done? Alright. This is from my game actually against Standards Night Lords. Titled The Knight and the Night Hunter. In the dying moments of the battle, the indentured knight, Resolution of Hector, caught the Primarch Kurz mid-leap and hacked him down with his mighty Reaper Chainblade, winning the battle for the Loyalists and ending the threat of Conrad Kurz. For now.
Excellent. So we've got Jason and his Phosphex team in his own Phosphex Danger Close. We've got Andrew and his lovely Korax cuddling soft Danger Close. And we've got Brendan and his stomping Kurz into the ground. So
The 60 Irish boys!
So let's have a
One gave me a
So let's have a cheer for Jason. Hey! Let's have a cheer for Andrew. Hey! A cheer for Brendan. Hello! I think we got a unanimous winner there. Well done, Brendan. Nice job, buddy. Yeah, more space in this one. Cool. So cheers for all you guys coming down. Really appreciate it. There is going to be an ongoing campaign system from Tarsis running. I'm going to try and publish a mission every month for everyone to play in, and that will hopefully build into the next Tarsis event. Which, if Chip lets me, we might have some more players. We'll probably have some Zone Mortalis, all kinds of crazy shenanigans going on. So keep your eyes peeled. If you guys are not in, there's a couple of Facebook groups that we post in regularly. One's the G52 podcast group. I've published stuff in there. That's kind of a bigger community. There's the Pork Chop Horus Heresy group as well. That tends to be a bit more local. That's when we tend to set up games for here on a Tuesday night. So if you're local and interested in playing down here, jump in the Pork Chop group as well. That's a really good place as we set up games. If you just want to keep in touch with Tarsis and keep it going and grow it, jump in the Geno group and we'll keep posting stuff in there as well as it's going and stuff. So appreciate you guys coming down and hopefully we'll see you in the next one.
Hey, thank you.
I'm fucking brilliant! Thank you! That's going to be a really self-indulgent bit at the end of my podcast. How great I am. Brilliant. No, Thompson.
Lord Marshal Great, sir. Legion reinforcements now visible on the left flank.
About time. The wolves, I see.
No, sir. Ultramarines, sir.
But they're wearing grey, Proclamator Fennec.
Fox message said new recruit, sir. No time to paint armour. All Legion reinforcements to the right, sir.
Thank you, Fennec. Good to see the scars correctly presented.
Sorry, sir. It's more Ultramarines. New issue armour. Prime white. No time to paint, sir.
Shocking! At least the Raven Guard are in black armour.
Sorry, sir. That's more Ultramarines.
For Emperor's sake, box them and find out why.
Yes, sir. Apparently, also new armour, sir. But the sergeant says it's okay. Their eye lenses are red, and the bolt guns are silver. He said 3 colours minimum, sir.
What the? Get on the Vox now and tell them to contact Miniature Realm Studio.
Miniature Realm Studio, sir?
Yes, Fennec. Miniature Realm Studio offers a commission painting service, competitive rates, and a range of painting standards to suit most budgets and requirements.
Yes, sir. Very good, sir. I suppose they do say that fully painted is for closers.
What does that even mean, Fennec?
I don't know, sir. No one really does, sir.
Miniature Realms Studio can be found on Facebook, on Twitter at Miniature Realms, on Instagram at Miniature Realms Studio, or just drop Stuart an email at miniaturerealmstudio@gmail.com.
All right then, guys. I'm glad you enjoyed. Hopefully enjoyed our Tarsis review. Hopefully that was quite interesting for you. With just some further notes, we will be looking at running a couple more events next year. So jump in the Geno podcast group. Keep an eye on our Facebook pages. We'll tend to release stuff there and keep you up. So maybe there is potential for more people, more tickets, more things going on next year. But we're going to kind of round out and close out, and I'm going to try and not make this sound like a serial killer monologue. So excuse me if you're fucking sick of listening to me, but I'm going to do our usual shout outs. So at the moment, all we've got on our events list is the Escalation event in April, which is obviously sold out, but keep your eyes out for spare places and things like that. There's a little while to go. We might get some dropouts. Freddie and the guys over at Vangarian, Jody and Chris, have just released their Scorpius Insurrection. Is that right, guys?
That rings a bell. I'm just looking back at Facebook now to see if I can...
Pretty sure it was called the Scorpius. It's going to be their big event in Sweden next year. So if you're mainland Europe, or I think there's some talk of maybe some Americans venturing over here. I know I've been talking to Chris Priddy about what to do in Europe. He's trying to work on his wife to let him come to Europe and play. So there might be a bit of an international podcast gathering there. So
Scorpius Insurrection is on the 12th of August.
Yeah, there we go. 12th of August. Lund? Or
Lund.
Lund.
At the Farm Shack.
So that's Jody's barbecue place, isn't it? So it's going to be held in the barbecue shacks, Farm Shack, where they're going to do a load of cool food, which is awesome. Also, actually, that's just reminded me, for our mainland Europe people, they have announced an MKA course over there. there is going to be a Swedish MKA course. So a great.
Sweden?
Yeah, they're going over to Sweden. So they had so much fun in Australia. They're going to Sweden. I don't know if Matt's going to be quite so terrified of the wildlife over there. But, it should be good. But check.
Do they have any?
I think it's all frozen and died, isn't it?
Snow rabbits.
Chris was trying to tell us about some kind of special word he had for snow the other day, wouldn't he? Which was essentially slush.
Oh no, it was a special word for slush, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Special type of slush. I mean, that's how bad they are. Yes, Matt better not get to go. But there's definitely, that's been out on the MKA page and that's on the Vengarian page. So if you're mainland Europe, definitely a chance to go up for Sweden for, I think it's going to be a week. I think they're going to do 2 days of painting, day of gaming, 2 more days of painting. So, I mean, there's a huge opportunity to come and join the MKA crew there. I know they're going back to Australia as well, aren't they, Sam?
They are indeed, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, so I think that's end of next year, isn't it? Or is it, tail end of the year. So there's going to be, and they're actually going to do 2 courses in 2 different places over there. So there's going to be a lot of MKA stuff going on. And stuff. So, I mean, guys, if you're looking at running events, there is a lot of UK Heresy. There seems to be a spate of events that popped up in sort of quick succession over the next year or so. But if you're looking to run an event and want to shout out, internationally, throw it to us. We'll try and make sure we give you a good shout out. Send us the details, send us the Facebook link. We'll make sure we shout it out on there. So, really, really good. So, just come and join us on social media. Check out the other podcasts. As we said, the podcast list is growing, isn't it? It is getting bigger and bigger and bigger with the Sons of Heresy joining us as well. So, cool. Anything else you guys would like to throw out there before we sign off for the night?
I might have to. I might just retire because the Sons of Heresy are like my celebrity idols. So I might just quit my poor attempts at podcasting and listen to them because you guys have your favorite podcasts and those guys are mine.
Do you want to? Probably one thing we should do, Sam, is get you to give your painting services a shout out. So do you want to give yourself some praise?
For those of you, I've been speaking about my Sons of Horus army. If anybody wants to take a look at some of my stuff, my blog on Facebook and Instagram is called SJP Painting. If you've got any questions about any of sort of the techniques and the painting sort of recipes and methods that I use, drop me a message and I'll get back to you with how I go about doing those. So if it helps any of you guys new to 30k, that are looking to sort of branch out and try newer sort of painting techniques, drop me a line, or drop me a message on Facebook.
And what Sam's politely avoiding is, if you don't want to paint, pay him to paint it as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I do take commissions on the odd occasion. At the moment, I'm inundated with. I've got a single massive Sons of Horus commission that I'm working on for a client. So if you are interested, like I said, drop me a message and we'll go from there.
Yeah. There is absolutely nothing wrong with getting commission painters to paint your army. I am. I've heard some people before going, oh well, if you commission paint it, you haven't done it. I'm like, well, if you commissioned it, I think you should probably make people aware with best painted stuff. Don't take the painter's credit, but I'd rather play your commission painted army than play a grey plastic one.
Or you could do what Matt Kane does and get your students to paint your army for you.
And then still claim best painted army.
Joseph Wesley, I think Matt owes you half a Best Army Award from the Shadow War weekend, mate.
Yeah,
Matt is going to take my head in the next time he sees me for saying that.
He needs to have that revoked. I'm going to start a campaign.
To be fair, actually, if you see Joseph's doing the Emperor's Children, and he started working.
Yeah, they're absolutely stunning, absolutely amazing.
I mean, his stuff is stunning on its own. So, fair play to him. I think, as long as Matt just gives him half his earnings from MKA, that'll definitely pay him back.
Yeah, for those who are curious to see who we're talking about, check out Joseph Wesley figure painting.
Oh yeah.
Again on Facebook, his Emperor's Children are out of this world. They are looking so good.
He's taken Matt's studio schema and just turned it up to 11, hasn't he? Just taken it on and made it his own, and it's beyond gorgeous. The purple and stuff that he's getting out of it is absolutely stunning.
Yeah, really, really good.
Yeah, awesome. Anything else you want to throw out, Stu? You want to have an argument about any more tickets?
No, it's fine. It's gone now. My painting entry has been shelved. So
okay. One last point then. What would you trade for a ticket?
What would I trade?
75
quid.
75 quid.
75 quid. Not the 200 quid they're going for on eBay. No, yeah.
You're pre-ordered Freddie Sextol?
Oh, that's supposed to be secret. That's supposed to be secret.
Awesome. Nice one then, guys. It's been good to chat to you. Good to have you again on, Sam. Look forward to it, and I think you're going to do some roving reporting for us. Hopefully, you're going to be our spy at Warhammer World for the open day, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll be there at the doubles event as well. So if
awesome,
you guys want some stuff about that, feel free to drop me a line, and I'll look forward to being on again in the future.
I think Sam, we joined the Vangarians half guard, and the Mournival are quite well established in the IRS. We might have to come up with a name for our solo operative that we've discovered. So we might give you some non-tangible benefits.
Sharakin,
yeah, our knights errant. Cool, awesome to have you on again, guys. Good to chat to you, and we'll catch you again, guys, soon. And don't let that itch burn too much.
That's right, you knows what I'm saying. Your mother's offered me the goods, I'm not paying. It started as a laugh, as a bit of a joke, something funny to say when I was having a smoke. I first heard off this bloke, his fucking rumour going round. Your mother's reputation, it's not sound. She's saving up the pennies, hoping they turn into pounds to have an operation swap agenda round. It's a shock to me and it's a shock to you. Your mother's got a beard, sandals and a penis too. It don't look right, see, when she's walking down the street to see a ball bag jiggling to the beat of her feet. I said, your mother's got a penis. Your mother's got a penis. Your mother's got a penis. That's right, your mother's got a penis. In internet rooms or computer mainframes, there's loads of emails about your mother's blue veins. Not the ones in her legs or the backs of her arms, but the ones in the member hip and in her gam. She walks around proud with a short dress on, which sometimes exposes the tip of her dong. Often it's dripping, sometimes it's dry. No matter when I see her, there's a tear in my eye. I thought I had to tell you how to put it in a letter, but I thought, fuck that, to write the song is much better. The only way to do it, to really let you know, I can prove it cause I gave it a blow. It was purely accidental cause she got me really drunk, and she made me kiss her elephant trunk. You know why? That's right. Your mother got a penis. Your mother's got a penis. Your mother's got a penis. Your mother's got a penis. That's right. Your mother's got a penis. 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 That's right, your mother's got a penis. When she walks down the street, then she walks like John Wayne. I just seen her pissing standing up again. Don't make no sense when you see her here and there. She got a cock and balls of real pubic hair and a single eye that sometimes weeps. Since she's lying on the bed, then she rubs it on the sheets or up against the door or the back of your neck. If your mother's around, then you make the double check. I hate to tell you, with all due respect, take your mother to the doctors cause her front bum's wrecked. You know why? Your mother's got a penis. Come on, Wembley! Your mother's got a penis. Your mother's got a penis. Your mother's got a penis. That's right. Your mother's got a penis. 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 That's right. Your mother's got a penis. For the 18th week running UK rap group, the GLC holds the #1 position of the US Billboard chart with another smash hit, Your Mother's Got a Penis. Come here, boys! Never seen a woman with a cock before! Come here! Come on, look at it! Bouncing up and down and sticking in you! Come here! A woman with a cock, tidy!
Yeah, it's the truth, man. His mother have actually got a penis.